The ghost in this old house is leaving nothing to the imagination. YouTuber Dennis from Dark Life captures the ghostly mist out of the corner of his eye. Watch the top left closely. Using a spirit box, Dennis receives some creepy messages from a spirit here named Paul. Later, Dennis feels Paul's presence all around him.
Павел, ты еще здесь? Вот это жесть.
What was that? It sounded to me like terminal respiratory secretions. If it is, Dennis had better hope that it doesn't catch up to him. YouTuber Tim Morozov has faced off with many an entity in his paranormal investigations. This time he encounters ghosts in the Spine building. As he sets up his cameras, he's quickly met with some paranormal activity.
Стоит стул и внизу в подвалах этой тюрьмы.
Even after this, he continues in his investigation.
Кто там?
The spirits seem to want him out, but Tim stays. Just as he thinks his fears are unfounded, this happens.
Мои опасения были напрасными.
And then his camera keeps freezing right before something much worse unfolds.
Снова. Черт. Да блин, может ее перезапустить? Черт.
Luckily, Tim gets out alive. This time, I am sold that there was definitely something evil in this building. Whether ghost or demon, I'm not so sure, but it definitely wanted Tim's soul all to itself. Ghosts appear in the unlikeliest of places. Published to YouTube in February of 2012, Mad Mup writes, "This is actual unedited security camera footage recorded by myself using my phone. The gate captured in the security footage is locked with a padlock. According to Mad Mup, the padlock was firmly locked 5 minutes earlier, and someone working in the warehouse had gone to the keys, and then this happened." The CCTV footage shows the gate being pushed roughly, then you can see the padlock unlocking and twisting open on its own, allowing the gates to swing wide. There's absolutely no one around. Is this the work of a warehouse ghost who just doesn't want to punch out, or is it something not paranormal altogether, but it seems like it just can't be explained to me? This unbelievable capture occurred on a rural road in the middle of the night. Published by Scary Desk in September of 2021, a crew was driving to an unknown location when this happened. The semi-transparent figure appears to fall directly from the sky. It stays in place for a moment before shortly vanishing. Is this a phantom, CGI, or do you have another theory? I guess this just goes to show you never know what you're gonna see when you look up at the sky. If you knowingly lived in a haunted house, would you stay? Donnie Drunkard did. Published to YouTube in December of 2020, this paranormal activity will run you out of Donnie Drunkard's home. Donnie writes, "After trying to recover footage that I thought was lost, I found these clips from last year documenting the earliest days of paranormal and poltergeist activity manifesting in my haunted house. The footage first shows Donnie playing with his dog Terry, but later that night Donnie notes that the atmosphere changed and that they heard voices and sounds coming from upstairs. Terrifying clinking and clanking bursts through the darkness. Terry is growling as Donnie grabs for his Bible and starts to pray.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
As Terry tries to escape under a table for comfort.
Terry, come here. Terry. Come on. Come on, Terry. We gotta go.
Donnie gathers him up to flee this mayhem for a time as they head out for a drive. In the background, an overhead light is swinging back and forth while they are away. A closet door near where the sound originated opens slowly. Nothing exits. YouTuber Brenda Luke writes, that hallway, it's not just darkness, it's advanced darkness. I'd be leaving that haunted house immediately. Warning to young explorers, don't enter abandoned malls at night. Jaskin Ho published this footage in September of 2018, illustrating exactly why. Explaining that the mall in question is Charlestown Outlet Mall in the US, he writes, this is an older video I thought I'd drop for you guys. The mall closed for good over 30 years ago, and I did record a video here before, but there was talk about the basement level, so we went in. While the first 9 minutes reveal your typical exploring of the abandoned mall, 9 minutes in, one of the crew peers into a dark room beyond, and that's when he hightails it out of there, followed closely by the rest. One of the bunch says they were running for nearly 5 minutes. According to the one who first ran, he saw someone in the room beyond. Although the video didn't capture the figure, we can only imagine what this group came across. And with that in mind, I think they made the right choice getting out of there ASAP. A man is deep in the forest of Malaysia, looking for supernatural forces that he should probably best leave alone. All he has with him is a flashlight and a camera when he's caught in the presence of something paranormal.
Subhanallah, 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 subhanallah.
He records in the direction he feels the most watched and captures this freaky face between the trees. Once spotted, things go even more wrong in a scary way.
Aku nak sangat berjumpa dengan kau. Apa hal Puy? Apa hal Puy?
When his light comes back on the face is even closer. A still image taken at 2 minutes and 42 seconds shows what I'm talking about. The upper half of a scary man who I think could be of the spirit realm. A YouTuber named Shabir1000 caught a scary moment on camera that simply should not have happened, and then another scary moment during his live stream while trying to explain it. So he's telling us a story about something that happened to him late at night.
And a little story on that is, you know, I don't smoke in the garage.
The door nudges open with a gentle click. He almost notices it, but is too involved in his story to really understand that the door, which was all the way shut, is now open a crack.
And the other night, when I was watching, I caught something on camera too that I'm going to put in here for you. And then I'll narrate through the camera itself when I show that footage. But
ironically, the more Shabir1000 talks about what he saw on his CCTV system late at night, a sighting that he thinks could have been paranormal, mind you, the wider the door opens. His head is blocking the doorway, so it's hard to tell if a figure was standing there, but something is opening the door, and ghost or no ghost, it definitely was not him. He claims to have been alone the entire time, so I wanted to know if you believe him, since almost all of his videos are about non-paranormal topics like do-it-yourself projects and flea market finds. I think this video is probably real. Oh, and if you're wondering about what he caught on CCTV late at night, here's the video and it's pretty creepy. What he thinks is a ghost orb floats clear across the screen, performs a lazy loop and then disappears. He doesn't think this is a bug because it materializes out of thin air, and if you look closely you can see other bugs fly by that look nothing like this orb, like here at 2 minutes for instance. That's a bug, and this is something else. Anyway, he wasn't reading the chat at the time, and so he freaks out when they later tell him that a ghost opened his door. He tries to recreate it, and as part of this video shows, there really is no way to open the door without first turning the knob. And even though the door is made of lightweight material, it doesn't open any wider on its own. He steps on the other side of the door, where someone would have been standing, and tries to push it open without turning the knob. No luck, and when he opens the door, it stays in the same position.
Weird.
Weird indeed, and unless someone has a better explanation, it's probably paranormal. This video, titled The Cave of Screaming Terror, sounds a bit dramatic until you get about midway through. Donnell Buckley is exploring the sea cave along the coast of Ireland by himself when suddenly the water becomes higher and Donnell hears this strange sound behind him. A series of shrill, high-pitched screams coming from somewhere deep within the cave makes Donald decide to leave the vicinity. He never gives proper explanation, and I think it definitely creeped him out. If you can identify what kind of creature this is, then please do so. It almost sounds like some kind of exotic bird, but it also somewhat resembles some of the more convincing rake videos that I've seen before. A YouTuber named Vicky Short offers this creepy home CCTV video as paranormal evidence of a haunted house. It's 4:26 in the morning when a scary event happens that is caught on CCTV, 2 books falling off the shelf, seemingly with no one around. Vicky says the haunted household objects moved on their own, but the alleged paranormal activity happens in a corner that the camera can't really see very well, so I'm not sure if it's real or fake. This could be a ghost moving the books, or it could be someone moving them off camera. But when the 2 lights mysteriously flash from a surge of energy across from where the books fell, it makes them suspect that paranormal activity is occurring after all. 2 things that you should never mess with: a Ouija board and the spirit world. Posted by Big Rig Jiggin to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Big Rig claims that when he leaves this Ouija board out on the table, something strange happens. According to Big Rig, this video has been time edited due to it taking over 70 hours to get this footage. I tried to sit and watch for the movements so I could record. The only times it was happening is when I left the room and came back hours later. Big Rig leaves a Ouija board on the table with the planchette sitting at the top pointing downward. He passes his hand over the table and around the planchette, assumedly to show there are no strings attached. Then he leaves the room. The planchette sits still for a long while, but after a time, it starts moving around the board. It appears to slide all across the board, moving around of its own accord. The movement is also shown at a different angle. As you can see, the desk is thick, so magnets aren't likely at play here. Nitro Fox Zero states in the comments that leaving the planchette on the board is a big no-no, and the fact that it's trying to leave the board means the spirit is trying to escape. Never really thought of that. Now this unexplainable Ouija board activity seems even creepier. A parenting channel called the Mommy Wayopedia has thousands of subscribers who are looking for heartwarming family videos. Paranormal content is not what they seek, and I don't think she's playing around when she uploaded a rather realistic ghost sighting video for fans to analyze. So here's the background story on this video. She's been seeing some weird things on CCTV camera for the past week or so, but never had the phone nearby to record and doesn't have a memory card for the camera, so she waited near the CCTV monitor for a couple of days for the paranormal entity to return, and this creepy sighting of a mysterious figure is what she has since caught on camera. The mother tries to keep the fear out of her voice as she tells her son to keep reading a book out loud.
You read the book, baby. okay?
She doesn't want to scare him. She can't take her eyes off what she sees. Seated on the ground facing the courtyard on the first floor is this exquisitely eerie ghost sighting. A woman with long hair and a gown. She's across from the main entrance waiting for them to come out. The see-through figure does not move, but look closely and at 10 seconds, you'll see this object across from the ghost is moving all by itself, or maybe it's the wind. The mommy Wayopedia has no idea what this ghost wants from her or her family, and is seeking advice on what to do next. I would say this is a camera glitch, but she's been seeing it on different monitors, across different places, so it appears to be an actual ghost. With that in mind, the only thing left to do is either confront it or hope it goes away, and I'm not sure if either is going to get her any peace. These explorers are checking out a haunted church in Britain called St. Botolph's Church, which is said to be guarded by the spirit of a passed away monk. The weather is fine at first, but within a minute of stepping out of the car, it becomes cloudy and gray, as if to signify they do not belong here. Here at 2 minutes and 34 seconds, you can see everyone standing outside as they peruse the cemetery, and it isn't until 2 minutes and 47 seconds that they go inside. With this in mind, tell me how they record this shadow figure walk across the church at 2 minutes and 22 seconds, a full 20 seconds before any of them enter. YouTuber Ali H lives in a house haunted by ghosts. He and his partner plan to move, but will the ghosts let them?
I was standing here. That was on there. Like it was up in the cupboard there. Flew off the cupboards, opened up, and the box broke, and look who's in the box.
Maybe she doesn't want him to remodel the place. As he's picking up the dolls, he finds this obscure note.
What the? I'm gonna put these away right now. I don't have time to indulge them in whatever trying to.
I want to know more about the note. I'm sure it's full of clues. As Ali tries to give a tour of his newly remodeled upstairs, the ghosts let him know a coat of fresh paint isn't going to solve this phantom infestation.
My old office, they've turned into a child's room for the showing, and I have with it. I really like it. Okay, are you serious?
After the knocking quiets down, Ali continues, but then so does the knocking.
The room, and then my futon takes up half the room. Who is it?
Ali questions the ghosts, but they only taunt him.
Why do you keep knocking? Are you mad at us? Does that mean yes?
After clarifying that 1 knock means yes and 2 means no, Ali gets a few more answers.
Are you mad at us?
He finally gets to the bottom of why the ghosts are angry with them.
Are you mad at us for moving?
And they really don't want these guys to leave.
Oh, I was down here. What happened?
I don't know, I just walked in the kitchen and it was like this. I didn't...
What the
It seems to me like these ghosts will stop at nothing to make their point.
Oh my...
Okay, I'll clean it in the morning. Just leave it.
Can you get Luna?
And Ali and co better be hyper aware of their surroundings before their move out date. Humans have always made computers, but on a website called thispersondoesnotexist.com, it's now the other way around. It uses a sophisticated computer algorithm to create realistic photos of people who were never actually born. Looking into the eyes of a photorealistic person who doesn't exist is strange enough, but get this, sometimes the computer messes up, and this is the result. In this first glitch, a fictional man's entire lower jaw is replaced with a solid chunk of bad data. It looks like he is screaming into the abyss, and the surprised, hollow look in his eyes just makes it even worse. And when the computer really gets things wrong, it creates this horrifying humanoid sidekick with a jack-o'-lantern grin, and oddly enough, glasses under pale green eyes that do not even fully surround the iris. The glasses don't have a nose piece because, well, the creature does not have a nose. For those of you who haven't heard or don't remember, on August 13th, 2018, a man named Chris Watts made national headlines after taking the lives of his two daughters, Bella and Celeste, and his wife Shanann, who was 15 weeks pregnant. Two police investigators and a special canine handler now search the Watts residence on August 14th, one day after Shanann was reported missing. They are confident that their dog will be able to sniff out any DNA evidence that Chris Watts may have tried to scrub away. What they find instead is an abundance of paranormal evidence as recorded by their chest-mounted camera. Like this part where I hear the unmistakable laughter of a child as they pass through Bella's room at 12 minutes and 32 seconds. Listen for yourself, there's no denying it.
Well, there's plenty of person here.
Yes.
I'm hoping that was a motion-activated doll or something, but I doubt it, especially given what else they hear in the next room over. A voice says something like, "I have CC," which is short for Celeste, and they are standing in the room of Celeste too. Then again, I think it could be the canine handler saying something under her breath as she checks the closet, so maybe it's not paranormal after all. Things get weird once again as they enter the garage. Another voice, a woman this time. But it could be the officer whispering something to herself. Moments later, they pass by these containers in the garage. Containers Chris was believed to have used to transport the bodies from the house into his truck. The dog sniffs them, but everything looks clean.
Something that set him off down in this area.
As they are walking away, they record this. It's a wail of agony coming from all directions at once. But that's not all. The most compelling evidence occurs in the very beginning, but I've saved it for last. Check out the top of the stairway on the left when they first enter. There is some movement that I find very strange. It could be a trick of the light playing across the rails, but I see a little girl rushing down the steps. A girl with a short haircut. She vanishes before she reaches the bottom, and this event also coincides with a shadow figure sighting recorded by police on a different night after the home security alarm mysteriously went off on its own. It's in the same area and roughly the same size as before. A poor girl lost, looking down at the entrance and disappearing before she reaches the bottom of the stairs. Austin Jones is a YouTuber turned pop singer who got into a lot of trouble over his numerous improper online relations with fans under 18. It all started in 2015 when he confessed to frequently asking teenage girls to make dance videos for him.
I used to ask fans for twerking videos. It's not something that I'm proud of. It's not something that I think is right, and I shouldn't have done it.
The 16-minute apology video goes on to make some clarifications about the rumor.
Nothing ever went further than twerking videos. They were never...
The confession concludes with Austin Jones claiming to be a better person who has learned from his mistakes. 2 years later, however, he was arrested by Chicago police for pretty much the exact same thing, except it was even worse than we all thought. Multiple fans soon came forward and told authorities that Austin Jones had inappropriate interactions with them online. One girl said she made 25 videos for him, 8 of which were very mature in nature. Since then, police have searched his computer and charged him with 2 counts of producing underage materials. The case is still currently underway and the former pop star is confined to his home in the meantime. Unable to use the internet by court order, he has not uploaded in over a year. This YouTuber takes his girlfriend on an adventure to go exploring a tunnel that's said to be quite haunted. The Blue Ghost Tunnel in Ontario is close to a graveyard that was not properly relocated and still has hundreds of unmarked burial sites. Well near the entrance, Jack hears strange sounds in the sky that sound like a train horn, but there's just one problem.
I don't know if the camera could pick this up, but listen in the background.
Trains would derail so often that the tunnel was soon condemned, so I have no idea what that sound was. When they get through the boarded up entrance, from deeper in the tunnel comes the voice of a little ghost girl calling for help. It could just be a squeaky piece of machinery, but I don't think so.
Hello?
A mysterious light way far ahead makes them both leave quick. You can see it comes from way too far ahead to be a part of their equipment, and besides that, they claim to not even have flashlights anyway. I don't know why you would go exploring a haunted tunnel without a flashlight, but I guess they weren't intended to go very far. Little did they know they wouldn't even make it past the entrance without getting freaked out. This rocket ride is a famous local attraction at the Luna Park in St. Petersburg, Russia. Here's what the ride looks like normally, and this is what it looks like after a cable frays to the point of snapping clean through. This angle clearly shows how close the riders are to plummeting hundreds of feet below. Look at the top of the ride. That cable to the left is the only thing keeping them alive. The tip of the ride is bending from the pressure and looks ready to come off. Rescue workers are eventually able to get everyone down to safety, though I'm not sure they felt anything but safe while dangling over 200 feet in the air with no end in sight. Ever wish you had supernatural powers? Well, this video supposedly shows a Thai girl who discovered she did. When she was driven to anger at a bus stop, the video, shot in Thailand, begins with a girl smack-talking someone as she leaves the bus. She is being held back by a friend who remains quiet. The girl continues to point and exchange some heated words with the driver, who steps down from his post to return fire. Spectators watch from the ground, and others hang out of windows to witness the exchange. The shouting match continues in Thai with plenty of pointing and aggression. Another guy tries to intervene. He shouts at the girl and goes to slap her, but before he can, he is thrown back by a supernatural force. The spectators scream. The origin of this force seems to not be the shouting girl, but her silent friend who stood behind her. The quiet girl then steps forward and points her hand out, palm forward, and the bus driver flies up the side of the bus before dropping to the ground. The girl looks at her hands in amazement, as though this is the first time she's realized she has these scary supernatural powers. Everyone is quiet and staring at the girl. She turns in a circle, puts her hands out again, and a table and chairs fly backward. The bus driver yells at her, and she makes him fly into the air again, and even her friend backed away and won't come near her. The video ends with the girl looking down at her hands, collapsing to the ground, shaking and screaming shrilly, while the footage appears all too real, with no strings attached. Many in the YouTube comments call it out as a fake. YouTuber Pei Pina says, "I'm Thai, and Thai people like to make dramas with superpowers like this." While Jacob Zamet notes, the biggest flaw in this video is the fact that no one else is talking while the argument progresses, letting the main characters in this film be heard as the girl and the guy take turns. He also notes that video cameras or cell phones with video components, and it's unlikely that someone who just levitated would have another go at the person who just did it. All good points. Still a scary and intriguing video. You kind of wish it was real. After spending a day at the pool with some friends, a YouTuber named Austin Grash decides to explore his girlfriend's creepy basement for fun. They soon discover her basement area has many secret areas that have gone untouched for quite some time.
No, and look to the right and there's a whole door over there.
Listen, that's not concrete, that's hollow.
A series of hidden passageways leads them deeper and deeper underground until they come across a final creepy red door. At this point, they can't shake the feeling that someone has definitely been down here before. Perhaps even very recently, just when they are talking about what could have possibly taken place down here, they see a bad sign.
I want to know why there's chains right there.
Where?
I want to know why there's chains everywhere.
If these chains weren't used to shackle somebody in place, then please tell me what they could have been for instead, because honestly, that's the only explanation I have. Eventually, one of them bravely kicks open the mysterious red door to reveal an empty room. There is a cellar door that none of them can pry open, so they give up and head back to the surface. Exactly what is in there is anyone's guess. For all we know, maybe somebody below ground was holding on to the other side. A woman leaves her car unlocked and loses some personal items, including a set of keys. A short time later, a man who she has never seen before comes to her front door and attempts to gain entry with her missing keys. Fortunately, none of the keys were the house key, and he quickly hurries off with nothing. This just goes to show how easily one incident can lead to another. If you ever experience anything like this, don't underestimate the persistence of those doing it. Sometimes the more clever ones will track you back to your house and try to do the same thing a second time. Mother deer aimlessly walks in circles while its young grazes nearby. You can tell that one of her fawns senses that something is deeply wrong with its mother at the 1-minute 23-second mark, but it can't tell exactly what the problem is. Judging from the deer's high steps and low grass, it seems to have some sort of neurological problem, most likely CWD. According to the uploader, the mother deer wandered over to a nearby creek and fell into the water. She was unable to lift her neck out of the shallow water and passed away. They have been leaving some corn for the fawn to survive on. Hopefully they do not get CWD as well. NASA scientists are in the middle of conducting a 9-hour space experiment when this strangely haunting static fills their ears. NASA experts describe the noise only as complex signals. They think it could be anything from equipment vibrations to gravity waves, but I think it sounds like it could be some radio signal from another galaxy. Many believe that some kind of life form was trying to contact us, and I agree that's a definite possibility, especially considering the sound was only heard for a single minute and never again. Either way, the mysterious sound you've just heard was recorded in 2014 and has been baffling experts ever since. No clear explanation has ever been provided, so I'd like to get yours if possible. Creepy videos don't get much scarier than the creature caught lurking around Anton Meyer's house. No, his house is not haunted, at least not in the traditional sense, but this scary moment will definitely haunt him for the rest of his days in South Africa. The animal control expert needs to move the snake into a cylinder containment unit on the floor, but as more and more of the creature stretches forth, I don't think it will fit. I wanted to know if this is a snouted cobra like he says it is. If so, these snakes are highly venomous and probably the absolute last species you'd want in your home, let alone in such an intimate area. Oh, and by the way, according to the description of this video, the handler accidentally lost his grip and the snake made the watery retreat back to where it came from. Hopefully it doesn't make a second appearance when they least expect it, but since cobras tend to be territorial during certain parts of the year, it's likely to return at some point. This YouTuber is recording the wall of his school when an all-white face peeks out from around the corner. When he goes to investigate, the supposed spirit is completely gone. The spirit itself looks very blurry and is probably CGI, although I could very well be wrong. Maybe someone with more knowledge on special effects could give me more info. A YouTuber in Belgium has a ghost in the window, and when I say in the window, I mean literally.
This is my window. Strange. Go away. What is it? Go away. Spirit.
He's not running his finger up the blinds because there's a heavy curtain in front of it. So tell me if you think a ghost is moving objects like he says.
No way.
Considering this is the only paranormal video he has, and the rest of his channel is about nothing but guitars, I think it could be real. When you hear something outside and you don't know what it is, it's probably best not to go in search of it. That's what YouTuber Leviathan did in January of 2020, writing, "We've been hearing chilling sounds from barn, and we decided to investigate. What we've seen lurking in there was petrifying. Is there someone who is able to identify the creature?" The video shows the pair walking through the darkness in the woods at night. They enter a wooden barn and are shortly met by this terrifying rattling howl. When the thing starts banging around the barn, the pair of thrill seekers don't stay long enough to find out what was making that noise. Who can blame them? Would you want to face whatever is making this sound? In the nighttime darkness? Me neither. Randy films his cat taking a midday snooze when something creepy moves overhead. I would say this is just a particle of dust, except the cat sees it too and bolts upstairs like it's one of the scariest moments it's ever had in all of its 9 lives. Something makes the cat open its eyes. It senses something is wrong. Then an apparent ghost orb floats by, and suddenly the cat no longer wants to be in the same room anymore. Skeptics, I'm sure, will be quick to point out that the cat could have been startled by the camera. That's a good point, except cats usually don't run in fear from their owner. This cat seems to have felt the presence of something, a feline sixth sense of sorts, and it doesn't stick around. A number of scary viral Russian 3 a.m. videos uploaded by Rostelman has everyone spooked, including himself. He wants someone to explain this mysterious event. He keeps going through night after night, so let's help him out. This window is taking some serious punishment from an unseen force and at times sounds ready to break. One night he can take it no more and makes one crucial mistake. He invites it inside. I myself would probably get reinforced steel bars installed on that window before opening it, but I guess he was trying to get a better look at whatever it was, and before you say he should have gone outside to see what it was, keep in mind it's late at night and freezing cold in Russia, so I wouldn't be in a hurry to confront this paranormal entity either. Dennis and Tim team up in this video on YouTube channel Nerve Paranormal, and they think this poltergeist is pushing them to do dangerous things. Upon entering the abandoned site, they find something out of place.
Что? Ты ее не ложил-то? Нет еще. Его тут не было? Не было. Блин, ты рукой показал, увидел я его и вообще.
As they explore, Dennis sees something pass by. Then as they enter, If that wasn't scary enough, this happens.
Надо уходить, блин.
I agree that it's time to leave, but will the evil poltergeist let them?
Не гудись, куда? Давай туда.
With nowhere to go, they tried to escape from the roof. But they decide against it.
Типа ты имеешь в виду подталкивать нас на это?
Да.
На охотную лестницу?
Да.
Слушай, а мы вот тут не сможем просто?
Не помню.
They re-enter the house and leave out the window instead. That was a close call, and I agree with Dennis that the poltergeist was trying to drive them out via a risky route. I'm glad they didn't listen though. Costa Rica is full of many beautiful sights. Under your pillow is not one of them.
Scorpion on my pillow.
Is it alive?
I'd say it's very much still alive. A gigantic stinger is curled high above at the ready. I don't know if he was sleeping under this terrifying creature all night, but I think he might have been. If so, he's really lucky he never fluffed the pillow. Seriously though, I really want to know what kind of scorpion this is, and how risky this event really was. If you're like me, there's one thing apart from sharks that you were scared of when swimming in any pool as a child: the pool drain. As it turns out, we weren't worrying in vain. The 18-year-old lifeguard in this video is trapped by the pool drain and held under to the point of becoming unconscious. How did this happen? The lifeguard dove into the water to retrieve a kid's goggles that were dropped at the bottom of the pool, and when he reached his arm into the pool drain, it reached back. He couldn't get his arm out of the drain. Pulling and tugging, he was quickly losing air and probably hyperventilating, making him lose it even faster. When the other lifeguards finally realized that their friend hadn't come up yet, and in fact was motionless at the bottom of the pool, they jumped into action. One of the lifeguards cleared the pool, while the other dove in to save his colleague. He tugged and tugged, trying to get the arm to release, but it wasn't moving. The rescuer swam to the surface and told the other lifeguard to call 911. He then tried again to release his colleague from the drain, to no avail. When he came up for air again, someone said to turn off the pumps. The drain was acting like a suction cup on its victim, pulling mercilessly and not letting go. A single lifeguard's power is no match for this vacuum. So that's what he did. He turned off the whole system, but he was still unable to free his colleague, as the pump was somehow still in force. When a paramedic arrived, he dove in, and they were at last able to free the lifeguard. The guy was underwater for about 6 or 7 minutes, but after performing CPR, they got a spontaneous pulse. They transported the lifeguard by helicopter, where he began seizing. His brain was swelling, but medication was administered, and he fell into a coma. There were no signs of brain damage when he regained consciousness. While this footage is a rescue 911 reenactment of what actually happened, and a dated one at that, it is scary and reminds us that there's no doubt that pool drains can be dangerous. They can even kill. Lalo Escalante is a Mexican paranormal investigator, relatively new to YouTube. Escalante started his channel in October 2019. At the beginning of December 2020, Lalo and his team investigated an abandoned house in Culiacan, Mexico. Right at the beginning of this video, a couple of orbs can be spotted as the camera is showing the exterior. While they could be dismissed as dust particles, other such specks can be seen all around. The orbs in question stand out and do not resemble the other dust specks seen. Furthermore, there's no distinguishing features you would see on an insect such as wings. From this common and tame example of paranormal phenomenon, the video escalates rather quickly. Escalante is joined on this investigation by friends David Apino and Luis Fernando. Right from the get-go, Apino appears to be in a state of discomfort. He frequently clutches at his stomach and coughs, causing concern amongst the others.
¿Tú te sientes bien? ¿Te sientes bien? Porque yo como que quería vomitar, güey. ¿Estás bien, güey? ¿Estás bien, güey? Sí. ¿Seguro? No sé ni cómo llegamos a llegar arriba, güey. O sea, está súper grande. ¿Estás bien, güey? ¿Qué se salió? ¿Qué vieron, güey?
Despite him claiming to be alright, the others seem unconvinced, and soon Apino is hardly able to walk. His companions help him to a place where he can have a seat, and he stumbles as he is being led. Once they get him seated, they attempt to compose themselves when Escalante hears a noise, startling him.
Hola!
After calling out Ola, the cameraman spots a figure in a white shirt calmly walking from right to left in the background. The team quickly goes to investigate and check to see if there may be another person in the building. Entering a courtyard, they find nobody there and no sign of where the figure has gone. As they attempt to determine what they saw, their focus is broken by a strange high pitch from above them. It is difficult to fully analyze what the noise might be, as Escalante is speaking when it happens, but on closer inspection, it sounds either to be a woman giving out a quick scream sound, or the squeaking of a door or other inanimate object against either the ground or wall. Seconds later, they hear a similar noise, and this time clearly sounds like a whimper. As they decide to re-enter the building, they hear another sound, this time like a woman either crying or laughing. By this point, they feel they are not alone and quickly duck back inside. Throughout this time, Apino continues to show signs of distress, coughing and rubbing his stomach and chest. Clearly, something is affecting him. On their way inside, they discover some evidence the place is used by vagrants, trash all over and discarded clothing. This does lead to the possibility of whatever they saw and heard could be an actual person rather than paranormal, but this doesn't make the ordeal any less scary. People can be unpredictable, and it's possible whoever may be residing there could want to protect something they have stored there. The trio soon ascends to the top floor, where they spot yet another terrifying presence.
Es que de aquí se puede ver la alberca perfectamente. ¿Qué es eso, güey? Güey. Abajo, güey, abajo.
Below them, in the courtyard, they spotted the figure and heard the noises. They again see something staring at them. It then quickly ducks behind a wall, out of sight. They all rush down to investigate, but whatever was there has vanished. As they return to the courtyard, a loud crash is heard next to them, and even worse, Apino appears to black out.
Güey, de aquí fue, Lalo, güey, fue de aquí, fue de aquí. No mames, güey,
His face has gone completely red, and he is out cold. Concerned for their friend's well-being, the team abandons their investigation and rushes Apino back to their car. At this point, the video ends, but captions after state Apino regained consciousness and recovered quickly. Clearly, something had affected him in the place. They never found what was spying on them, but it is safe to say it didn't want them there, and definitely succeeded in sending them hightailing it back to safety. A YouTuber named Joe Shoemaker is exploring an abandoned road on Elm Street in Ohio. At the end of this overgrown dirt road is supposed to be a notorious house with a long and haunted history. The road itself is ominously closed, and they have to break the rules just to get there. After driving for a while, their headlights barely manage to illuminate the dark and collapsing exterior of a house that looks more like a creepy old shack rather than a place where any normal person would actually ever live. The front porch is an unpassable pile of broken boards and sharp wooden splinters, so John has to walk around the perimeter to find another way inside. The back entrance is a scratched up wooden door. John isn't even sure if someone still lives here or not, but he turns the rusted knob and stands in the door. The inside is barren and lacks insulation. A long ventilation duct runs completely exposed across the length of the wall. Pipes hang on strings for no reason. He hesitates for a moment and takes a single uneasy step inside. Nothing happens, so he takes another step and makes the mistake of letting down his guard.
That's okay.
Just when he feels safe, some sort of blue humanoid figure comes from the bottom of the screen and jumps him. I mean, this could just be one of his friends, but here's the thing. When you look closely at the creature that pops out in front of him, you'll see it only has a single misshapen eye. This footage is terrifying to any cyclist on the road. Published in April of 2022, Cycling Mikey writes, "The footage was given to me by a subscriber who asked me to make the video available. In case anyone knows this man and is willing to give his details." He had videoed the driver using his mobile phone, and the driver took exception to that. Captured at around 10:30 p.m. in July of 2021, the footage shows a cyclist riding as fast as he can from the car in question. He is calling out to any passers-by to call the police.
Help me! Call the police! Call the police! Help me! Help me!
The car is clearly chasing him. It even drives up on the sidewalk at one point as the cyclist tries to escape. The cyclist luckily eventually loses the driver, pulls into a driveway and drops his bike to the ground. Commenters call this outrageous and criminal behavior. Well, at least one commenter was able to capture the license plate number. Was it enough to find the culprit, or does he have dodgy plates? Sadly, I was never able to find out. Is this spirit hiding? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Leonardo DeFuzzy. This ghost hunter is about to find out. After hearing noise in an adjacent room of this abandoned home, the ghost hunter ventures inside, and then this happens. Something is behind this locked door trying to get out.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A'udhu bi kalimatillah at-tammat min sharri ma khalaq. Hada kayfa?
The ghost hunter moves forward and pulls the door open. But there's nothing inside. He steps further in, and despite the fact that there's no one there, even more poltergeist activity happens. Scaring him out of the room. He returns only for the same thing to happen again. As many in the comments note, this video is from YouTuber Adventure Allah, and most agree that it's one of the most realistic hauntings they've seen. Is it real, or just all camera angles? Redditor NavInPerson has another theory. They wrote, "It's just the house settling." I think we can all agree that the other explanation is a tad more exciting. Someone is watching you. Published to YouTube by Finders Beepers History Seekers in August of 2020. The channel writes, Matt and Andy are reunited in this week's creepy explore of an abandoned care home that was shut down for reports of terrible living conditions. Although it was shut down, maybe something paranormal stuck around. About 20 minutes into the edited video, the pair are headed up the stairs when they see this. Panning up to the second level, a figure moves across the upper hallway in the darkness. Unbeknownst to Mike and Andy, the shadowy menace was clearly watching them. The pair calls out to the person, but no answer. They consider backing down, but they think there's someone on the bottom floor as well. They decide to take their chances upward, but when they head up there, they find there's no one on the landing, and in fact, that landing where the figure crossed over doesn't even lead to another room. There's no way out. Some in the comments think the figure was the spirit of a former patient or staffer. Open Paranormal writes, I think you just caught some of the best paranormal activity I've ever seen. There's clearly no one around, but you could clearly see a shadow of someone up there. We'd have to agree, this one seems genuine. There's nothing creepier than finding extra limbs in your home movie. Published to YouTube in March of 2015 by Patrick Cochran. This video of the haunted Hinsdale house in New York will leave you terrified. Located on McMahon Road in Hinsdale, New York, the Hinsdale house runs tours for paranormal investigators and scare fans alike, as it's known to be one of the most haunted houses in the area. The mysterious history of the place includes everything from an exorcism to unexplainable events and sightings. Some of these events are recorded in the book, Echoes of a Haunting. Haunting is centered around the Dandy family who lived in the home with their kin in the 70s. The family claims a number of spirits visited them during their stay, and they even had a priest come on more than one occasion to perform an exorcism. The house won out though, and the Dandy family eventually fled the haunted place. A number of other families made attempts to call the Hinsdale house their home, but no one stayed for long. The present owner, Daniel Clays, doesn't live in the home, but allows paranormal teams to investigate the home. This video may show an investigation or just a regular ghost tour. The group wanders through the haunted house in the darkness, which is creepy enough as it is. Then around 2:36 you see it. A strange arm swings into sight in the darkness. What is that? It certainly doesn't look human. YouTuber Tommy Poo writes in the comments, of all the countless videos I have viewed on YouTube and other social media sites since 2009, this is only the second where I believe visual proof of paranormal entities has been digitally captured. YouTuber Tai Chiman adds, I was involved in the paranormal investigation show as a special guest star at the Hinsdale house 2 years ago, and it has plagued me since with negative activity around me and my home. It seems Ty was certainly not alone in his experience. There's a reason no family ever lasted long in the Hinsdale house. Could you? Me neither. Redditor Everyone is Human shared the following video to Reddit with a short read-up that says, my sister-in-law's Ring camera captured this tonight. I have never been a believer, but I am struggling to dismiss this. Please weigh in on it. So let's have a look and see if we can help the uploader in figuring out what was filmed on the camera that night. So I need you to focus your attention. So if we're looking at the center beam here, about dead center on the center beam, and then to the left, about halfway in between this center beam and this beam here. And you just see that thing just move. All right, now it's between these two beams, just huffing it down the sidewalk. Still on camera here, but it looks like whatever this is, it almost looks like the ghost of somebody out for an evening jog, as it starts on the left side of the sidewalk here and just continues down the sidewalk for the entire video. Whatever it is almost appears kind of translucent as well. You'd think if it was just a person, like an actual person out for a jog, it would be a lot more visible on camera. It would just look like a, you know, just a regular person on camera. This almost looks not only translucent, but it's kind of floating in the air. I can definitely see why this uploader, who is usually a skeptic when it comes to this sort of thing, is having a hard time coming up with a logical explanation of what exactly happened on the security footage. It certainly looks to be some sort of ghostly figure out for an evening stroll, but one can only hope that's not the case. Some viewers suggest that it could actually just be the camera that's making an ordinary person look like a ghost. Is this actually a ghost walking around in clear view, or is this just a camera trick on a regular person? I'll let you decide. Most bad guys see a security camera and think twice, but Jason Chekhov thinks that this one was attracted to his house specifically because of it, which he can get some money for if he can manage to get away. There's no doubt that he stops and looks directly at the camera at 9 seconds into the video. It's such an abrupt and dramatic turn that some people think the whole thing is fake, and that this person whose face is fully covered is none other than Jason Chekhov himself trying to get some views. I would agree that this could be a possibility, if not for the lengths of which the person is willing to go through to get inside. First, they put one arm under the other and try to wedge it open with force. Then they just try to open it the good old-fashioned way and give the glass 3 solid elbows. Finally, they try to simply pinch and lift, painfully snapping back their fingernail from the sound of it. The point is, I really doubt Jason Chekhov would have risked messing up his windows or his fingers trying to break his way in, though I could be wrong. This infrared video from 2008, taken by a ghost hunting squad in South Dakota called the SPCTR, details paranormal evidence at an abandoned house haunted by the spirit of a child. A mysterious figure peers around the corner at the end of the dark hallway. A ghost if you ask the SPCTR team, but I'm not so sure. The figure doesn't seem very tall and has shoulder-length hair if you look closely at 18 seconds, so maybe this was a little ghost girl in the hallway after all. If this is fake, then one of the paranormal investigators is crouched down to make themselves look like a kid. Tell me if you think this paranormal evidence is legit, or if this was a made-up sighting from the early days of YouTube. This footage, published by Paranormal World in August of 2019, shows a scenic mountain and forest opposite an overpass. After completing a full 360 to take it all in, the camera falls to the cars whizzing past below before returning to the mountain. This time, the mountain isn't the only thing carving out the sky. A Godzilla-like creature peeks out from behind the mountain. At first, one might mistake it for the mountain itself, but it slowly begins to move, voiding that theory. While many in the comments say this is a good edit, some are more concerned by the man's reaction. YouTuber Dap writes, "If there is a Godzilla, you are running, not chewing gum." That's probably true, although other people note that the creature is friendly, so perhaps the cameraman had no need to fear him. Still, seeing a creature the size of a mountain would probably get your heart pumping, friendly or not. Urban explorers Stacy and Cliff are exploring the abandoned Bryce Hospital, an Alabama asylum that is haunted as can be. Little do they know a shadow person is following them all the while and can be seen caught on video multiple times. When they first enter the building, a paranormal presence compels Stacy to not only look to her left, but to call out as well.
Hello?
A partially hidden shadow figure stands in the doorway. As soon as she says hello, the screen blurs like movement is near. She feels the need to look again, but this time the mysterious shadow figure is gone. On a different floor, they see a strange passing shadow move across the doorway, though this bizarre movement could simply be a trick of the light and not necessarily paranormal. With that said, a few minutes later is when they see the shadow figure one final time, a ghost in the doorway watching them without a word, and as Stacy turns around, the shadowy figure smooths out and mysteriously disappears. They finish exploring the hospital without another mysterious figure sighting. Goth Boy Prince is back with a pair of extra creepy dolls caught moving on tape. This paranormal evidence is beyond creepy, and it's downright terrifying.
Light her back up the ramp. Look. No! Bring that camera over here!
He orders the dolls to make the ghost meter move all the way to red. The ghost meter changes color and one of the dolls is caught moving on camera at the same time.
Oh, he moved!
Still moving.
Take this.
Look.
I'm scared.
Alright.
At 17 seconds, a ghost orb appears to move out of the doll's foot while their paranormal equipment continues to go crazy. A final scary moment is when Gothboy Prince wraps his hands around the doll in hopes of provoking a response. It works because the ghost meter keeps blinking until the exact moment he breaks contact, at which point the meter stops moving and stays off. Despite this strange encounter, Gothboy Prince says in the comments that he lets the doll sleep near his bed. I can't tell if he's joking or not, but I guess he isn't afraid of being watched or even potentially possessed. When unexplained shadows fall, your only recourse is to search for an answer. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Sammy Sam 1870 writes, "It was 2:06 a.m. and there was no one walking around, nor were there any cars in sight when this mysterious shadow strolled across my security camera. The following day, I tried to figure out where it could have came from, but found no explanation. The security camera footage shows a black shadow cast upon the ground, moving across the screen. As the Redditor explained, nothing visible in the area is casting the shadow. So do we have a shadow figure on our hands, or is this just a bug caught at a weird angle?" A man is enjoying the park in Salford, England, when this unsightly tree gives him pause. Everything looks completely normal from this angle, but then when you get just a bit closer, a grinning symmetrical face appears. This tree does face playground equipment, which provides somewhat of an explanation as to how this all started. I'm guessing some kids must have stripped some loose bark off out of curiosity, which is natural enough, but this gruesome one-eyed expression that settled in its place is anything but. A YouTuber named Phoebe Mayhew made a scary face swap video from 2016 that's still an unsolved mystery to this day, and I'm hoping this is the year we can find an answer. So Phoebe makes a joke about having no friends to face swap with, when this invisible presence takes her up on her generous offer to change faces.
Hello, anyone want?
The eerie apparition is apparently above her, and she switches places with something peering in from the highest point of the door. So the only thing in the corner that possibly looks like a face would be the overhead lighting, but when Phoebe tries to recreate the situation, nothing happens.
But it's definitely not the light it was doing it to. Because the light's over there and it's not doing it now.
Like I said, I don't see anything else in that doorway that could have set off the face swap. Do you? It makes me wonder if something tall and creepy was watching her and then vanished. Two fishermen cast their reels into the Gulf of Mexico without a care in the world. 20 minutes later, they only have one care in the world: getting out alive. The pair finds themselves caught in the middle of a giant storm system gathering overhead. Going backwards means traveling in the same direction as the storm, so the only thing left to do is charge deeper into the storm and hope to come out the other side in one piece. The storm hasn't even begun yet, and you can see the waves are almost coming into the boat already. They need to hurry if they ever want to see dry land again. The storm gets worse and worse until they can barely tell the sky apart from the sea. Everything is just a big swirling mass of gray with absolutely no visibility, except for the occasional crack of lightning to illuminate their path for a few precious seconds at a time. If things get any worse, their tiny boat will surely capsize under the crushing waves. Finally, after an hour of riding, they emerge from the traveling storm and return to blue skies. You can tell that they are truly safe because they can stand fully upright again. A YouTuber named Cup Stewart lives on the cusp of the rainforest in Indonesia. Tonight he is investigating rumors of a small creature haunting the woods to see if it's real. He goes exploring where the creature was last seen and lays a trap. After a while, something with a white face and long hair comes out of the forest and lowers into the cage.
Nice, mantap. Tuh, dia mau bawa kandang terbang tuh, cuman nggak bisa dia keberatan begitunya tuh, main. Bisa bawa terbang kandang itu nggak, soal dia kandang mau dibawa terbang nih, main. Tunggu aja lainnya, kita tunggu. Oke, ya.
From the woods approaches a tall figure. a man rumored to live isolated from the rest of the island. He subdues one of them, and while Cup Stewart is checking on the condition of his friend, the stranger lets his pet humanoid creature free from its cage and runs extremely fast out of sight. This video has over 8 million views and about half the people think it really happened. I honestly can't say I agree. For one, the creature pretty obviously looks like a puppet in my opinion. I think somebody wearing black is standing behind this cage and moving it around with their arms. They also put the camera really far away from the cage. Almost anyone would put the camera right up there. They keep it far away in my opinion because it probably looks too fake close up. The man running away looks kind of weird, but it could be sped up or special effects. Even though this video is fake in my opinion, I'm including this on the list because it's gone viral and deserves an honest analysis. Tell me if you think it has any possibility of being real. If you have any doubt about the existence of poltergeists, this pair of videos will help put them to rest. The first was published by Tommy Wells in June of 2011. Filmed in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, it turns out this poltergeist is not so pleasant. The first clip shows little Christina's birthday party. After singing happy birthday, blowing out the candles, and starting to cut the cake, suddenly the faucet turns on full blast by itself.
Did you like the bicycle and stuff you got for your birthday?
Oh my God, Tommy, it's gonna start again.
The family is afraid that it is going to start again and mess things up for everybody, but they're not sure exactly how it's going to happen. One of the adults shut off the faucet as another corralled the kids toward another room. Then things do start again. Pots and pans are projectiled from an upper cupboard, while the drawers open and close aggressively. One comes completely off its hinges and falls on the floor.
What the going on? Go to the front room. Go to the front room. Let's go.
As if that weren't enough to convince you, in a second clip posted in November of 2013 by Bill Gursky, the owner says that things keep moving around the house. As he's talking about eating a pomegranate, the bowl he sets out on the counter has moved. He continues, stepping away from the counter, and over his shoulder, the bowl falls completely off the counter and onto the floor.
I'm kind of losing it here. Holy shit.
Security cameras around his home also show doors opening and closing on their own, a cushion falling off a piano bench, sheet music flying off the piano stand, sheet by sheet, and again the closet door opening and closing. Now, do you believe? When searching for ghosts in a haunted house abandoned in the jungle, be prepared to skip a step. This video, posted to YouTube by Pratik Paul in July of 2015, purports to show a real ghost girl in Matharan, India. The beautiful stone building in this clip is surrounded by foliage inside and out. The guide informs his audience about the house. According to him, it's one of the oldest houses in Matharan. Built during an era when the East India Company ruled in India. A general in the East India Company lived here with his family, including his wife and kin. Although the general was a generous man, during the time of the revolution, the house was lit on fire by rebel villagers. The colonel and his family could not escape. Within 30 minutes, the house was up in flames. Some say you can hear the sound of footsteps within the haunted house, and it's a general rule that no one should enter after 5 p.m. The crew is here at 5:30, hoping to capture on camera the ghosts that are said to haunt the place. After feeling unsettled by something, the camera whirls around and cries out that something is there. You can't see anything in the thick surrounding foliage. Although the cameraman states he saw a shadow, the other guy notes that it's just a cat, man. But then again, he says something feels wrong. The cameraman zooms in on a window opposite, and a figure with black hair can be seen there. One of the men says they heard a sound. That's when they decide to book it out of there and fast.
What that?
Sound, guys, I heard a sound right now.
Okay, let's leave. Let's leave.
Well, some are quick to call fake on this one. YouTuber Science Classes is a little more relenting, writing, If it's true, then I too want to see that spirit. Do you too? Count me in as well. Humans aren't the only beings with the apparent ability to teleport. Published by The Buzz in January of 2015, this mysterious video appears to show a canine teleportation. The video, filmed during a street race on an empty motorway in Chile, shows a dog suddenly materializing out of nowhere. In the clip, two cars speed down the track. As the camera swings after them, following the race, a dog suddenly appears in their wake, crossing the road. In slow motion, the dog appears out of thin air in the middle of the road, somehow avoiding the two cars, neither of which budge at all in their straight shot down the track. Did this dog teleport here, as many in the comments seem to believe? Whether or not he did, I think Pog Squatch sums up our sentiment. Scotty needs to be more careful when he beams you down. That was too close for comfort. Who would win in a swamp fight, a deer or an alligator? You're about to see. Published by Hazy Season in June of 2019. This scary video was captured at Squaw Creek Reservoir in Glen Rose, Texas. At first, the fisherman thinks he's looking at a huge fish.
Look at those. What is that? Is that a dead fish?
But as he gets closer, he realizes it's a deer in the water. The deer is no longer alive, and it's being pulled down into the water's depths.
Looks like a deer, dude. It's a dead deer. Holy shit.
By something that is so far unseen. The crew is wondering what's gotten hold of it. They watch for a moment and soon realize a gator's got him. They then let nature take its course.
Dude, what happened? Did it just like fall down this hill? Holy.
Although we probably all could have guessed that the gator would win this battle, I'm sure we were all rooting for the underdog. A Ring doorbell camera caught this video of a scary clown lurking around the neighborhood, and it has everyone freaking out. A total stranger stands with their head bent at an extreme angle, examining the doorbell camera before a noise startles them, and they slowly back away like they were about to do something wrong. This was taken 4 days before Halloween, so it's probably somebody who is super excited and just wanted to creep people out early this year. Still, no friends are with them as they lurk around people's property uninvited, and no one in the neighborhood recognizes them, so who knows what they're up to. Also, notice how they didn't go back to the sidewalk. They go through the yard like they're either about to look in the next house or try a window. It might be 4 days before Halloween, but maybe they're using this as cover to case houses in the near future. This scary Randonautica is brought to you by YouTuber CJ Faison. While in Las Vegas, CJ ventured out to the random location he was sent to by the app. The Randonautica takes CJ and his crew into the middle of the desert, where they discover a photo of CJ taken with some female fans at the Mirage Hotel from 2014.
I'm literally shaking. I have chills up and down my body.
We've got nothing all day long.
Look at that.
We've been struggling. What was that? Yo! That's a picture of me!
Yeah.
CJ says that one of the girls in the photo is named Julia. Alongside the photo is a note that includes CJ's full name and some other personal information.
The dark-haired girl in the middle, I met her in 2000, and I believe it was 2013, when I was racing in NASCAR at Richmond International Speedway.
Nearby, they also discover a wallet with some random stuff in it, including a room key for the Luxor, which is where CJ is staying.
Makes sense because we're in Vegas. There's another Luxor room key.
Oh, dude. I'm staying at the f***ing Luxor.
As they ponder this mystery in the desert, a couple of cars pass by and a girl shouts out at them, "Randonautica video boys, come on." Is it Julia? A YouTuber recalls another video that CJ shot where he's reading texts about him from Aaron Valentino. The YouTuber notes that these texts mention the year 2014.
Very well that you have stumbled upon this phone. I know many things about you. I know that you wish you could change some things that happened to your life in 2014.
The same year listed on Julia's picture, as well as the quote that CJ read on the back of the photograph. The quote was, "The ones who aren't afraid control life itself," which is a quote from infamous Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker. Yikes. Later, the crew notices something off in the distance watching them.
Hold on, give me a sec. Let me zoom out first. It's right there.
Oh.
Person, can you record that for the video?
Did someone plant this stuff here? Is that someone watching the group across several randonauticas from Pocomoke Forest in Maryland to the desert outside of Las Vegas, Nevada? Several YouTubers in the comments think this crew is being tracked or their phones have been hacked into. Perhaps these randonauticas aren't so random after all. Kazakhstan is a country with 3 mountain regions said to hold many strange secrets. One such secret can be found by satellite on Google Earth, and it's creepy beyond belief. The lines connect to form a pentagram within a circle. No one knows why someone put such a symbol out in the middle of nowhere. It's either a hoax or an actual summoning circle right by a large body of water, which, if you believe in rituals, could be a necessary element for whatever is being cast. So let me know if you think this weird symbol was made for evil purposes or just for attention. Something tells me this was never meant to be discovered. Is this house haunted? Posted by YouTuber Ricky Velasquez. A security camera captured some jarring movement in the living room. Watch the sofa. After the sofa appears to be shoved by something unseen, the woman shouts at her partner in alarm. Let's see it again. The sofa is given a good push, but unfortunately the narrow view prevents us from seeing if there's anything off camera. Although her reaction seems genuinely disturbed, I can't say that this couldn't be faked. We're gonna need a few more cameras. On May 11th, 2020, this boy in Texas walked up to his parents after collecting a bucket full of these strange creatures. He was using a small plastic toy shovel. Had he used his hands, he might not have survived. If you ever see one of these strange sea creatures washed up on the beach, don't ever try to pick it up. They're called blue dragons, and as the name in bright blue colors should warn you, their toxic wrath will mess you up quick. Sometimes. I say sometimes because grabbing one leaves a 50-50 chance of you writhing in the worst pain of your life, worse than a giant jellyfish or even a stingray, or you won't feel anything at all. That's because these sea slugs feed on much larger venomous prey like jellyfish. They take the venom of their prey and store it to be used against larger threats like us, for example. Their supercharged sting feels like the wrath of a dragon as a result, and how much damage it does to humans depends on how recently they've feasted. Blue dragons have been known to wash ashore and cause major problems for anyone unfortunate enough to walk through a patch of them like this one. They also float upside down and can be easy for swimmers to miss in the shimmering sea until it's too late and they are burning all over. A group of them are called a blue fleet. If accidentally brushing up against a single one is worse than a school of jellyfish, imagine how a whole fleet would feel. The science world acknowledges this creature has enough venom to potentially end your life, and if that possibility doesn't make them one of the scariest things you can find at the beach, I don't know what does. No actual cases like that have been documented yet, so stay far away from them and you won't be the first. William Davies has been documenting all of the paranormal activity around his bedroom for quite some time. January 25th, 2014 is when he proves to himself his bedroom is haunted, first with a creepy unexpected EVP caught on tape. followed by this hands-on ghost encounter.
Stopped. Whoa, something just grabbed me then. Ooh.
6 months later, the paranormal activity is ramped up considerably. He hears noises all around his room quite often. Even during the day, it sounds like someone invisible is walking around. Objects fall off the shelf in plain sight, with William Davies clearly standing a few feet away. He might have done it himself with a string, but honestly, I don't see one. Do you?
Oh, this is not normal, man.
4 months later, he notices his pantry cupboard refuses to stay closed, but only for one night.
Something's... No.
And if you listen close, at 2 minutes and 49 seconds, you hear a woman's voice cry out right before the door opens. The more he refuses to believe, the harder the ghost pushes open the door. A YouTuber named A. Marie says that she encountered a little ghost girl in the hallway of this haunted hotel in Oregon, and this eerie video taken late at night is her paranormal evidence. She's exploring the haunted hotel when she captures strange shadow movements on camera. I thought it was probably her own reflection in the window, but some people are saying that the angles don't match up and that this shadow has a different source, so maybe they're right.
Is there anybody with me? Is there any spirits with me?
Marie turns around only to capture a mysterious white light floating across the hallway. A little ghost girl wearing a dress according to some, but most likely a lens flare from the bright lights overhead. But here's the really creepy part. When she turns down the hall where the ghost last went, something scary is waiting for her. The creepy EVP sounds like a disembodied voice saying the word go, as in get out of this hall. I can only imagine that the legendary little ghost girl is turning around and saying this because she doesn't like to be followed by ghost hunters, and it might be best to heed her haunting words. Seen at a distance, TikToker Jen Us 58 is wondering, what is that? Let's take a look. The figure appears to be running in the beginning and then, mysteriously, stands frozen still. When the driver flashes its lights, the figure starts running again. He gets closer and finds that the figure appears headless. It then disappears into the darkness. But when he returns to his car, he turns to find the ghost has reappeared. So was it a ghost or something else? While I'm pondering that question, most in the comments are wondering why the guy even got out of his car. It's late at night when a group of friends hear a woman screaming for help and decide to investigate inside the house. They enter and look around trying to figure out where the woman is. Soon the cameraman realizes their female friend is no longer with them, and as they head upstairs they see her getting dragged into a room. They try to go back downstairs, but there's someone blocking their path who appears to be possessed. With the group trapped inside the house, they are eventually each picked off by whatever was in that house. According to the footage, the group was never seen again. And though their reactions seem quite realistic, I've been unable to find more information on the incident, so therefore I cannot decide whether this is real or a skit. This live recording was shot somewhere in the country of Turkey. The news report itself starts out normally enough until a bystander notices an object in the distance and points it out to the rest. A group soon gathers around to gawk at what appears to be a large amount of UFOs in the sky. The fact that the video ends before anything else happens makes me think that it could be fake, or maybe an electronic disturbance jammed the cameras. If anyone in Turkey knows more about this video, please let me know. If you ever get lost in your own little world while driving, you may be missing out. Fear is right outside your window. YouTuber Nabs Maya captured this unusual figure on camera, and they are disturbed by it. Watch closely.
Because no guys are coming down that way. They were
right, so the beginning of the show at 10 o'clock on the dot this morning, and we have got one new entry on the Coke Top 40. We've obviously then got one faller. We'll get to that a little bit later, but that new entry.
What they're looking at is that bright pale figure in the middle of the field. It appears to be standing idle. Though the camera is shaky, the figure doesn't move. You can even see a bird fly past it, undisturbed. What is this thing? It's difficult to tell from such a distance. I think it could be anything. A person, a scarecrow, even a ghost. But these guys are gonna have to get closer to test out my theories. If you're going to cage a phantom, you're going to need a bigger door. Posted by Wokayahoga. This footage shows you can't keep a ghost locked up. The hunters are holding an EMF meter toward a locked set of doors. After a moment, something pounds against the door and then rattles it, trying to get out. I'm not sure what the context of this video is, but one thing's certain, whatever's inside is not staying there. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Angelina is with some friends, and they are exploring an abandoned house that was apparently the scene of some very horrible events. The house is certainly creepy, and as they explore, the video has a feeling of unease, almost like something could pop out at any second. But it's at the 9-minute and 32-second mark when Angelina's friend looks into a dark room that things get beyond strange. She sees something so creepy, it sends her leaving with a high-pitched scream.
Oh my god!
Inside the room is basically a spider fortress, with webs covering almost every inch of the room. I feel bad for any future urban explorer who accidentally walks into that room, especially if you have a fear of spiders. This would be enough to scare you for life. This intriguing footage was captured on a dash cam at around 7 p.m. Watch closely. As the car turns around, keep your eye on the front of the white van up ahead. Do you see that dark figure move behind it? Now watch the second floor stairway window as the driver pulls forward. Something is clearly peeking out at him. The shadow figure disappears as the car reverses, and you don't see it again. The strangest part was that during this camera freeze in the beginning, the YouTuber says he caught a glimpse of the shadow speed toward the stairway. This is actually what led him to check his camera footage. Is the shadow figure in both spots the same lurking entity? I think it just might be, and this shadow seems to move at the speed of light. The Bucket List Boys are an adventurous group of friends who are excited about taking the 24-hour challenge in an old haunted hospital. Most of the video is relatively normal until night falls and the atmosphere suddenly changes from playful to serious.
Justin, I know that was you.
Dude, what are you talking about? Right here.
Wait. Shut up.
That wasn't you?
No, that was you. Stop playing it.
They quickly grow more and more nervous from mysterious sounds until eventually they just want to leave. They're trying to figure out a way when something that's just way out of place pedals across their path.
Do you remember which way it is?
No.
Did you hear that?
What?
What the
fuck? No.
A small right tricycle rides by, and since the Bucket List Boys running in the opposite direction at full speed, they're in such a hurry to escape whatever's behind them that one of them almost falls down a dark hole with no visible bottom. They barely make it out in time and never look back. Hopefully this was just a prank and nothing really followed them outside. Some kids, flashlights, a tunnel, and the darkness of night. These ingredients never fail to be a recipe for disaster. Published in December 2012 by Timothy L. Shabu, a group of kids decide to enter a sewer at night with nothing but flashlights to guide them. They should have expected what came next. They crawl into the depths of the tunnel, waiting for the creature to make himself known, but when it does, you wish it hadn't. The figure springs towards the boys and all mayhem breaks loose as the entire group tries to scurry out of the tunnel at once. When they do finally break free of the tunnel and its creature, a sigh of relief washes over them. Many viewers of this video feel the same way. The Potato Llamas wrote, "Reminds me of when there's a spider hiding under a rock, and the second you lift it, it runs at you. But what was this thing crawling deep in the tunnel?" Some think it was a monkey, judging by the noises the creature made, others special effects. I don't know what it is, but it's made me want to stay out of sewage tunnels at night, or at any time really. The Spirit Walk paranormal team is taking viewers along on an investigation of Mount Morris Mystery House in Pennsylvania. Let's see what they found. Upon first speaking through the spirit box, they discover who they're dealing with.
Are you a male with...
As they continue to communicate, it warns them.
Do you think that there's something...
And then it seems to appear. Or perhaps it's lurking behind them.
Billy Gal's reading. What happened? Something moved behind me. Something. Yeah, something like something straight moved.
It sounded like glass.
They then get a reading on one of their devices. And they hear faint footsteps.
Did someone fall?
When asked a simple question, the ghost laughs. This house does seem to present a number of paranormal phenomena, but in my opinion, the spirit doesn't seem malevolent. If I were this family, I'd just try to live with them in harmony. Things are getting out of hand with this Pyro Poltergeist, published by Memoria Sobrenatural Inc. in December of 2021. The spirits first make their presence known in this haunted place via EMF meter. The crew tries to communicate with the spirits and the window shutter slowly opens, perhaps to distract from the fire being set behind them. When they leave the building, they see a dark figure cross a doorway in the firelight. Later, they're back inside and they hear clinking.
Cara, que sentimento horrível, pessoal.
And then a loud bang.
Cara do céu!
The flame they lit earlier goes out suddenly. Then, as they attempt to detect a presence using the EMF meter, the spirits send them up in flames.
Cara do céu!
Do you think this team finally got the message? This poltergeist couldn't be any clearer. He wants them gone. I don't think I'd ever go back to that place. In the moment, you might not catch some unexpected apparition appearing around you. It's only when you play that moment back that you find it. Published by William Villas in September of 2013. He writes in Malay, "This video was filmed on August 3rd, 2013 when we were waiting for the troops to have a video clip that was still unavailable. The video shows a group of men sitting and talking in the darkness. They appear to be sitting in a stairwell. As they laugh, completely oblivious to what's going on around them. You see a girl dressed in white with long black hair and shoulders hunched forward pass by slowly at the top of the stairway. The men must not have noticed in the moment as they continue on as usual, but they sure must have gotten the scare of their lives when they watched this clip back later on, only to make this mysterious and unexpected discovery. Once you see the apparition, you watch it again, over and over, because you can't look away from it. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Fighters travels to the same tunnel system as Dark Arts TV. He is explaining his nervous anticipation when a loud scrape occurs directly over his shoulder. No one is near him. You can tell by everyone's distant chatter that they are pretty far away. Listen for yourself and tell me if you agree no one else was nearby. At least no one alive.
This video is going to be far.
They all get a really bad feeling upon discovering what could be fragments of human. Look at this part and tell me if he is tossing a part of someone's jaw or just a random piece of debris. I was wondering if these could belong to an animal, but then they discover a large collection of combs left over top. Like this one, for example. So I think we may have sadly found our answer. They are ready to leave before they come across any other horrible discoveries, but something follows them. This extremely creepy low laugh follows them on their way out, while the rest of the audio remains the same. In fact, what's especially scary is how one of these girls lets out a small chuckle shortly before this noise comes out.
People like pulling the fire brigade.
Alright, so right now, our homie scared of spiders. We're trying to...
Almost as if it's laughing in response. Listen for yourself and tell me if you think this is edited or not. Wanda Chance is riding down the road when she sees a stranger who looks out of place. He is wearing a floor-length black cloak and holds his hands in front of him, possibly making a symbol. Wanda is suspicious of him and they drive by again. I think he looks like he might just be a regular teenager, sporting a gothic clothing style and look, but Wanda notices a long and pointy ear at 1 minute and 14 seconds and questions if he is really a person at all. What do you think about this sighting? Sure, it's strange, but is this just a person with an uncommon fashion style for the area, or a visitor from somewhere far off trying their best to fit in? Ashley uses the reality ripple in her room and realizes one of her dolls is haunted. She is able to see a little ghost attached to the doll itself. In this still picture, you can see her blonde hair and also kind of see a scary face on the ghost girl as well. A haunting expression permanently locked in a scream. Something is very wrong with this mannequin, and you'll never guess what it is. It looks completely normal here, but things are about to take a turn for the creepy. The mannequin moves all by itself and even seems to track some shoppers as they walk by. It's a creepy scenario, but I think this is probably planned and not paranormal. In my opinion, this almost has to be a clever advertising technique and not the work of a shopping mall ghost, as the title of the video says. This store probably set up animatronic mannequins to get people's attention and hopefully draw them into the store. It might work on some, but I think it also freaks a lot of them out. I know if I saw this, I would choose someplace else where the mannequins stay in place like they're supposed to. So they might want to rethink this marketing strategy. This strange video has me doing a double take, shared by TikToker UaBerm1997 and originally shared by BJoshua0902. The video shows a couple of partiers going down a water slide, but watch the second one closely. It looks like a second pair of legs is sticking out to the side. Watch again. Is someone following closely behind the woman? It doesn't appear so. When she splashes into the water, no one pops up behind her. So what's going on here? The only explanation I can see is that there was another person following closely behind that somehow swam out of view during the splash, but I don't know. It sure doesn't look like that's what's happening. What do you think is going on here? This video will definitely make you want to double check all of your wiring in your home. Eric McGregor takes one look at this discolored brown outlet and identifies a major problem.
It's catching on fire.
Amber sparks shoot out of the middle of a frayed wire that is still hot and fully charged. It looks like the wall is going to catch on fire at any moment, especially here 23 seconds into the video. Eric calmly unscrews the outlet and plucks it free from the wall, which in turn trips the breaker and turns off all the power. I don't know if this is the safest solution, so you definitely shouldn't consider this video to be a tutorial of any kind, but his strategy does seem to work in this specific instance. Sometimes these kind of faulty wires can go undetected for months or even years. All it takes in the meantime is one random spark, especially late at night, to change everything forever. Two people are heading down the road when a third person looks right at them and steps in their path. Watch this part and you can see that he clearly waits for them to get close and does this on purpose.
Are you kidding me?
But here's where things get really strange. According to the uploader, when he turned around, the man was completely gone. He called the police and they had no luck finding him either. Could this have been a spirit doomed to repeat its last moments on Earth? Published by LANH-TV New in March of 2022, and originally published by Knob Team Explore, this scary video reveals that the real haunting happens just out of sight. As the cameraman walks us through an abandoned structure, he rounds a corner, where two bright lights are spotted blinking in the dark distance of the surrounding forest. What are they? He whistles and walks toward them, but before we can get to the bottom of that mystery, something starts rattling off to the left. The cameraman turns in the sound's direction, and he starts to approach the rattling. Rounding another corner, he finds that this door is the culprit. He calls out and then runs away.
Tuh. Assalamualaikum.
Turning around, he captures this hanging from the rafters. It appears to be a small pair of legs. The rest of the figure's body remains out of sight. When he turns around and casts the camera back, the figure is no longer there. What is this horror? Something that's gonna stay with me for a long time, that's for sure. A boy thinks he's caught a real ghost sighting. He's checking himself out on camera when suddenly a ghost face in the window moves towards him before disappearing back into the night. There's a lot of pixelation around the boy's head, which at first I thought was due to a cheap camera, but then I realized this is probably a green screen. If you look closely, the ghostly figure in the window is wearing a red shirt that's similar to what he's wearing, so it's probably the same person. I think he recorded himself in the window and then superimposed it over this second video to make it seem like a genuine reaction to a real ghost sighting. It's pretty clever and almost fooled me until I took a second look. While on duty at a hospital one night, a security guard noticed something alarming on CCTV footage at around 11 p.m. Let's take a look. The mysterious ball of fire is later seen returning from the other end of the hall. The security officer notes that senior officers said this phenomenon is unexplained, but not uncommon. Many attest to having seen a child spirit, as well as the apparition of a young woman wandering the grounds of this place. Is this one of their souls? I'd like to believe it is, but we can't rule out your run-of-the-mill bug anomaly either. Weigh in with your opinion in the comments. A scary ghost video from other studios has people wondering what's even real anymore. Normally, I'm hesitant about any channel that has studio or production in the name for obvious reasons, but as one person commented, this video looks compelling. This channel says they have a studio in the name because they produce beats, not ghost videos. Okay, valid reason. Let's look. So his friend Cody has been experiencing some weird activity that he thinks could be paranormal. Creepy stuff like the sink running and flickering lights with no one touching the switch. Cody soon got into the habit of recording video whenever he was in the house, just so he could have some evidence to show his friends to prove he's not a liar. This short clip is one of his most terrifying for sure.
Nope, 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 nope.
He comes back to a trashed kitchen after stepping out to talk to his girlfriend on the phone for 15 minutes. Everyone can see the open cabinets and tilted chair, but only Cody noticed the figure peering at him from the very top of a tall doorway at an impossible angle. He says the resolution is higher on the original video, and this is what the still image looks like without the compression from uploading on YouTube. The difference between the two is so major that I'm almost positive this has to be a Photoshop, but if it's real, he should never walk into that room again, or the whole house for that matter. What Happens When the Music Stops, published by Unsai1 in May of 2021. This ghost hunter was in such fear for his life that he left all his gear behind. Upon entering this abandoned school, Unsai1 first encounters a haunting sound coming from downstairs.
소리? 무슨 소리야 이게 자꾸? 들려?
He goes in search of it and seems to at last find it, but there's no one there. Later, he thinks something is stalking him.
걔는 지금 날 따라다녀. 언제 나올지 모르겠어.
And his EMF meter starts going crazy. He sets up some motion detectors, which are also triggered. After a while, even the creepy music box near the exit starts chiming in.
나왔어. 뭐야? 갑자기 왜?
He starts to think many spirits are gathering in the room. As all the devices start to go off at once, fearing for his life, he flees, screaming all the way. Then he gathers enough courage to go back. The music box is still chiming all the way down the spooky hallway. When he arrives back at the room, he's peering inside when something is thrown from another direction.
나라고? 나 아닐 텐데?
It seems his return made the congregated spirits angry. A YouTuber named High Gear and his friend are riding dirt bikes in the Russian woods when one of them almost gets their head taken clean off. His friend ducks just in time to avoid a steel cable that's been stretched tightly between two trees. The tripwire would have done some serious damage if he hadn't moved out of the way. They think it's a trap set by some psycho lurking in the forest. You can hear the anger and disgust in his voice as he talks about what they should do next. He even talks about hiding in the woods for a while and getting revenge on whoever returns to the spot. Ultimately, they decide to simply disarm the trap and take the wire cable with them. If this video is real, then whoever set this trap must still be out there waiting for their next chance, so I hope High Gear and his friends stay safe out there. A security guard is walking up a stairwell on his overnight shift when he hears this. Posted to TikTok, Simon Lockhart shines his flashlight on the floors below and above and can't tell from which direction the footsteps are coming, but then they come running at him.
Oh my, what the f? What the f? Bro.
If your heart just jumped into your throat, you're not alone. Some in the comments say they see a face in the door. When he looks up, do you see it? Is this what is chasing him?
Oh my, what the f? What the f?
Smallmouth Crush is making a fishing video on the Potomac River near Washington, D.C. He's drifting by when further down the riverbank something strange catches his eye. A head is sticking out of the water, long black hair. Her back is to him. He looks at the head for a long time, unable to mentally process what he's seeing and not sure what to do. He gives the object a poke just to make sure it is what he fears. It has a face and it is exactly what he's afraid of. I think we are all thinking it's the same thing, especially from this distance. But when he pokes at it some more, an artificial neck joint pops free from the mud. This is a mannequin head, not a real one.
Dude, what is happening? Look at this thing. This is nasty.
Not finding a body is a relief, I suppose, but it also begs the question as to why anyone would take a blindfolded mannequin head out into the woods in the first place. I've heard of people simulating their demented desires onto mannequins before moving on to the real thing as part of their transformation into a full-blown psycho. There's a lot of creepy people out there, I guess. And to further prove my point, he looks up to find something even more sickening nearby.
Look at that freaky thing. I'm out of here.
It looks like somebody has been using this spot to do some pretty twisted fantasizing, and as he speeds away, I can't help but wonder what if that's not a doll. Florida resident Candice Spivey was shopping at Target when she was approached by a stranger. This man started a polite conversation with her, but something was wrong. The same man had done this same thing to her earlier at a grocery store.
Do you remember running into me in the grocery store? No, hey, where are you going? Come back. Hey, get this guy. Stop him. Stop this guy. Stop him. Stop that guy. Call the cop. Call the cops on him. Call the cop.
As soon as she confronts the man on it, he takes off and she follows him out of the store. Apparently, this was a registered offender who secretly recorded women. This just goes to show you never know who the real person is behind a polite stranger. Hopefully this man stopped his horrible actions after being publicly confronted like this. This not-so-smart intruder's attempted entering was thwarted by a much smarter doorbell. When this stranger attempted to break into this home in Sydney Hills District, where a woman and her child were alone inside, The man is captured on several security cameras, staking out the premises, ringing the doorbell and waiting, before peering into the windows and trying the door handle several times.
Hello. Hi. Are you
wrong house, you're in the wrong house, sorry.
When the homeowner finally responds to the man's attempted break-in via the Ring doorbell, the homeowner's voice obviously scares the man, who quickly rushes off apologizing and claiming he had the wrong house. There's nothing better than outsmarting an intruder. Hopefully he didn't try again later. This camera caught movement where there was none, at least upon first glance. Redditor Lexi shares this mysterious video to the paranormal video subreddit. Keep an eye on the back bathroom. Did you see it? Something peeked in and out of the bathroom. And yet, according to the Redditor, no one is in there. Some in the comments think there's a squatter hanging out in the Redditor's ceiling, but to me, this looks pretty clearly like a shadow person. Are you willing to risk your life for a thrill? Before you put on your hiking shoes, watch this video of Huashan Mountain, published to YouTube in June of 2018. An unsubstantiated rumor is that the mountain takes 100 lives annually, and after watching this footage, it certainly seems plausible. Pedro writes, once you are going up the mountain, there is not much protection for you. One of the most difficult parts of the hike is the cliffside plank walk. You are quite literally walking the plank, hanging on to the side of a mountain peak for dear life. Pedro notes that it's one of the mountain's most popular attractions, and there's often a 3 or more hour queue to walk the plank, as you can see in the video. When Pedro arrives at the plank, he's one among many climbers hanging onto a rusty old chain as they take their precarious steps along the piece of broken wood. A 7,070-foot drop lies below. Pedro says some people take off their harness in order to capture better photos, hence the risk of the mountain. Climbing the mountain is enough of a risk, makes you wonder, is a photo really worth your life? A possible ghost sighting in the Indian town of Kudail has left construction worker witnesses wondering what it was they saw walking around late at night. You can hear them talking about the figure when suddenly it lets out a loud scream that all of them hear over the construction equipment. This video is real, warns the uploader, who says that this was taken by his sister's friend at 2:30 in the morning. I'm not sure if I believe him or not, but if I lived in the area, I definitely wouldn't take the chance of walking around early in the morning and finding out. A YouTuber named Sunny Cooper has recorded a shadow moving back and forth that looks out of place. Maybe together we can figure out what this strange shadow belongs to. It starts out going one direction, then it comes back the other way. It almost looks like a rat or a small animal of some sort, but that still doesn't explain how it appears to instantly teleport across a large gap twice. I guess this could just be some sort of time-lapse editing, but something about the way the shadow moves looks like it was recorded in real time. Let me know if you have any explanation for what's happening here. This submission comes from my new subreddit, where you can post whatever bizarre things you come across in your everyday life. It's reddit.com/r/chillsnarrator if you want to check it out. Lost Cosmonaut 01 says that he has been dealing with paranormal stuff ever since he was a child. Apparently, spirits have always taken an interest in him. Anyway, he lives alone, and one night he managed to take a picture of this possible ghost sighting in his basement. What interests me is that this streak of light highly resembles whatever was shown in number 4. If anyone has an explanation besides the paranormal as to how this could have been caused, then please let me know, and be sure to keep your submissions coming. YouTuber Dennis of Dark Life is at it again with this video of paranormal activity in a haunted home, as he's describing what he witnessed in the home when the cameras were off. Something happens while they're on.
Вот, здесь будто бы шевелилась мебель, ну, перед...
Later, as he's speaking with the spirits, things light up. For some reason, Dennis sticks around, only to witness this. Here it is from another angle. Later, he sees something in the corner.
Не знаю, камера это увидел. Вот сейчас убираю свет. Когда убирал свет, здесь что-то светилось в том углу.
Here it is again. Is this figure what has been causing all this mayhem? I think it might be. There are demons here, and Dennis shouldn't stay around too long, lest they get attached. Saulo Brenner claims to have caught a ghost on camera at an abandoned cemetery somewhere in Brazil. Across the street is a shadow figure caught moving on tape. It looks pretty decent until you zoom in and see the ghost sighting is most likely a blur effect or a camera glitch. The date and time look messed up too, further evidence that the CCTV video has been edited and not paranormal. This house is most haunted. YouTuber Sandro Silva CS investigates the creepy place in this scary video. When they arrive at the house, they're immediately frightened.
Lá dentro? Ô, viado, por Deus, sabe que eu vi na janela. Ô, Sandro, por que eu tô falando? O que? Ô, Sandro, vamos sair daqui. Sandro, verdade. O que você viu? Sandro, eu vi. O que você viu, louco? Sandro, eu vi uma pessoa na janela.
But what scared them? Inside, they find no one.
Pra você, cara. Sandro, vamos sair daqui, ó. Não entra. Trava. Sandro, eu vi mesmo, cara. Ô, viado. Sandro. Calma, André. Isso aí, André.
But then they hear a noise.
Estranho. Olhando. Vai ser lascado. Cara, bateu com força aquele troço lá, cara.
And that's not the end of it.
Moça, eu tô com medo de ir na frente. Olha! Olha, Sandro! Olha onde que voa essa cadeira. Sai daqui, ó. Nossa! Olha! Nossa Senhora do céu, cara. Começou já. Começou.
Was there a spirit in the room with them, or just a trapped animal? I think the sound is more spirited than scared. In fact, it seems to me like it's wanting to scare us. What is this creepy figure skulking in the darkness? The group encountered the creature at night hiding behind a pile of logs.
Come on, let's go. Hey, come on, let's go. Come on.
The figure appears like a woman, but not quite human. Take a closer look. Is this an extraterrestrial? A ghost, perhaps? Your guess is as good as mine. A YouTube channel called DIY.com decides to do some paranormal investigating at a haunted place in San Francisco called Stowe Lake. They're exploring for a while when this creepy statue comes at them from the darkness. Soon they notice that his camera seems to skip frames, or twitch as he calls it. Watch the frames skip whenever he passes over their faces.
Faster. Well, you see how it twitches?
Yeah.
The camera? Did you see that? Can you guys do that again? See? It twitches.
Twitches, yeah.
I couldn't really see what they were talking about until they addressed one of the children directly. That's when you can see a major frame loss that's scary enough to make one of them run away screaming.
Little girl. Ooh, you see that?
You can see it again in slow motion. Freaky, right? Freddy44 is a YouTuber with a terrible problem.
I could feel it moving around.
Spray this in yourself.
No, you're doing good, dude.
But I don't. I can't get it because you're moving.
Something has climbed inside of his ear and won't get out. They pick at it for a while, but only succeed in removing small bits and pieces. Not even the emergency room can get rid of it after a 2-hour procedure. 2 full days later, Freddy is finally able to see a specialist and find out what's been so deeply lodged in his ear canal.
All the way in there. There it is. Got it. Do you want to see it next to his face?
Oh my lord.
Here goes.
Okay, here's some perspective.
This is the June bug that had managed to become trapped in Freddy's ear. Believe it or not, they had to remove the giant bug in 2 separate sections, so what you are seeing here is roughly half of its true size. A family's CCTV camera captured this mysterious creature outside their home. It looks to me like a little goblin. Its creeping, hunched over movement is unnerving. It doesn't do anything remarkable, but skulks out of sight. Is it a rake? A house elf? I agree with Orlando. It definitely looks like this. The Camino de la Muerte, or Road of Fate, lies in Bolivia along a 50-mile rocky, narrow downhill road. The pass is so dangerous that the Inter-American Development Bank deemed it the most dangerous in the world in 1995. Somewhere between 200 to 300 people perish each year on this road. In this video, a bus driver attempts to traverse it to his own detriment. The road, which had recently suffered heavy rain, was prone to landslides, making the crossing even riskier business than usual. After ordering his passengers off the bus for safety's sake, they watch in terror as the driver attempts to creep across a very shaky and crumbling stretch of sand and rock, one that should not be crossed. The passengers attempt to help guide him, with one man in the video moving forward to motion that the driver move further away from the edge. It appears as if the bus will be successful in completing this crossing. But suddenly, the ground crumbles beneath it, and the bus tips, falling over the cliff, through the trees, and down the mountain. While it's fortunate that the 50 passengers survived their devastating journey, sadly, their driver did not. These YouTubers are about to come face to face with a situation none of us would want to deal while out on the water.
Hey!
The boat would have practically cleaved him in half had he not paddled away at the last second, and as the other boat passes, you can see one person is facing the wrong way, and the other is absent-mindedly holding a fishing rod. Nobody is guiding the engine like they should have been. Everything is okay in the end, but like the YouTuber says, he wouldn't operate a car without looking where you're going, so you shouldn't drive a boat like that either. Let this be a lesson to look where you're going on the water, and if you're in a small paddle boat like he was, always be sure to look up when you hear an approaching engine. Warning, if you summon La Llorona, prepare for the worst. While investigating the Hinsdale house, YouTuber Mo Sargi summoned the Weeping Woman, and he lived to regret it. While speaking through a spirit box, he received some answers.
Was there actually an exorcism here? Oh my, that was a yes.
And like an evil, like it was mad.
But the interview is cut short.
Was it a priest?
Behind you! What? Behind you! Something just appeared behind you! Something just appeared behind you!
What?
Like a mist, like a white mist! Holy
I don't blame him. I'd be done too if I'd just seen La Llorona in the flash. Upbeat Jason puts on a helmet cam and rides around the neighborhood with his friend on BMX bikes. The video is mostly a nice view of the countryside until he comes across some neighbors with aggressive dogs and no leash. Jason tries to get past them instead of taking another way around, and suddenly finds himself flanked on both sides.
Ah! There, go fast!
A dog lunges straight at Jason, jaws snapping. I don't think they make any contact, but I can tell by the sound of their bark that they are ready to attack. Clearly, they would have protected their territory if Jason stuck around, which he does not. But just when he thinks he is a safe distance away, he hears barking behind him and the chase is on again. Eventually, an adult picks them up and quickly puts their bike in the back of their truck before anything else happens. I really hope the two friends never bike past that house again. Is this the sound of a demon? YouTube team Paranormal Nightmare TV series is investigating this evil place when they manage to capture a crazy noise. Just listen. One of the crew is inside, while the others are outside. They both assume the sound came from each other.
What was that? Is that you that screamed?
No, that was you.
No, I didn't scream. That was you.
I swear to that was not me.
I think you just screamed.
No, I swear to
Yeah, that was loud.
Did you just scream?
It didn't so much sound like a scream to me, more like a grunt of some kind. Either way, I would say that has to be demonic. The G-Team paranormal investigators are at it again, returning to the highly paranormal medical center. The paranormal activity that occurs in this video is sure to scare you silly. Published to YouTube in April of 2020, the team writes, "We chose this place due to the amount of paranormal activity we always get here, and lo and behold, they were waiting for us. Hold on to your hats, because this one's a wild ride." Patty leads the pack, and the paranormal activity that occurs in the center is off to the races from the get-go. As the crew is doing their intro, something in the next room falls to the floor.
Yeah. Oh my god.
What was that?
When they go to investigate, they claim that as soon as they walked into the room, it grew extremely cold. Jody screams, saying he felt like something touched him. He said something got his neck, and Patty points out that a cord hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the room is moving. Throughout the entire video, there are odd noises here and there. Sometimes they're subtle, other times they're distinct.
It said doctor?
That was crazy.
Around 10 minutes 25 seconds, Jody is trying to communicate with the presence in the medical center, asking it to tap 3 times.
When that came out,
you hear that?
Although it does not comply, a shadow falls across the room, and another loud bang is heard in the next room.
Oh, God.
All this frightening activity begs the question, what kind of medical procedures went on here? A YouTube channel called Proper Good Games is streaming Pokemon when a game goes flying across the room off camera.
I thought when people ate quail, it was like eating a fancy.
They are both looking at each other and not moving at all when it happens, so it could not have been them. Then what she says next makes me feel like this happens all of the time. Do you believe her?
I'm not lying when I say ghost follow me around, right?
And when he goes to pick up the game, he lets out a gasp as the temperature into this part of the room suddenly grows very cold. Again, is this real or just good acting?
It's really cold when it's
Sure, it actually is.
A YouTuber named Run Gun Griff is a drone enthusiast who explores a lot of exotic locations on his channel. Most of his videos are taken on tropical islands, but this one was shot at a hard-to-find rural spot that he simply describes as being in the middle of nowhere. As this drone flies high, you can see that Run Gun Griff and his friend are standing in the middle of a huge field of crops that's covered in a series of strange markings. The symbols themselves are perfectly symmetrical and extremely precise in their geometry. Their designs look strikingly identical and appear to have no noticeable differences, a sign that it was not made by humans. I suppose that it would be possible to do this with farm equipment, but farmers have little reason to vandalize their own field, and since there's absolutely no flaws in the design, I think that there's a strong possibility that this was made by something extraterrestrial. Let me know if you think that these crop circles are man-made or extraterrestrial in nature, and if you recognize any of these symbols from any literature, movie, or video games, then I'd definitely like to know where they are from. This team of paranormal explorers sees a stalker in the darkness. YouTuber Rodolfo Augusto and his team are searching a bathroom and are quickly met with fear.
Ei! Ei! Eu escutei barulho lá atrás, ó. Aqui.
Essa aqui é onde eu tava lá?
Deve ser. Onde que tem lá? Vamos ali, só olhar ali e vamos lá pra casa.
Is someone stalking them?
Essa devastação toda. E no sítio da minha tia...
Ó. Tudo caído, ó, pra dentro. Olha
aqui, mano, parece túmulo. Olha que túmulo ali, velho.
Parece que foi enterrado pessoa aí, né?
They find some strange prints in the sand.
Quê? Oi, tem alguma coisa aqui que passou em cima aí, ó. Sai daí, pinguim, vai que tem gente morta aí.
But they don't yet see it. I think someone must be hot on their heels, but what exactly that is, only time will tell. While hiking through the Great Smoky Mountains in North Carolina, YouTuber Mr. Backyard Birding hears this bizarre roar. It sounds almost mechanical, but the YouTuber says it is the sound of a mythical, once extinct giant creature who is said to roam the mountains. The sound is heard repeatedly as the YouTuber continues through the forest. While some are mystified, others are sure this sound is not mythical but rather common. Having listened to some bull elk calls, I have to agree, but if I didn't know any better, this would shake me to my core. The audio of this dashcam video will haunt you. At around noon in October 2014, in Indianapolis, Indiana, a woman was sitting in her car outside an office building with a dashcam recording in process. In the video, a person can be seen walking past her vehicle wearing a strange mask, while the footage only shows one individual. According to the woman, there were 5 of them total out of sight. You can hear the woman laughing as she asks the group where they got their masks. But soon she learns that this isn't a joke as they smash out her windows and rob her. The woman was pulled out of her vehicle by her hair and thrown on the ground by a woman in a face mask and camo jacket. The attacker then took the woman's cell phone and purse. It seems this wasn't the group's first attack of the day. They were also charged with breaking the window of a moving car. Looks like we're not even safe sitting in a parking lot. Many legends haunt the legendary Hinsdale house in New York. YouTube team Haunt Me have come to investigate their truth. As the group is sitting in the house, they see something.
Right? Yeah. Outside the window or inside? Inside.
Inside, like on the couch.
On the couch.
Another of the team hears something.
Something out there.
Yeah. Out there?
Yeah, and our tech crew heard it too because I watched them look.
Come on, you can come in.
Again, one of the ladies senses something on the couch.
Just got up off the couch.
Me, Carol, and Kate.
And they see another figure.
You can hear somebody out there.
Yeah, I just saw somebody. I don't know if anybody else is paying attention, but they just walked behind the monitor.
Behind the monitor?
Yeah.
Into the baby carriage room?
No, the other way, from the baby carriage room.
To the back, towards the bathroom?
Yeah.
They then hear footsteps upstairs.
Very cool.
Is somebody looking at it right now?
Then the house tells them what it needs.
Energy. It's so clear. It's so clear.
If I were them, I'd take my energy out of this soul-sucking house as fast as I could. A statue jabs another statue with a trident in the middle of the night if this video is to be believed, which I have trouble doing, aside from looking like possible special effects because of the awkward way the statue moves. The way the camera mysteriously cuts out as soon as the trident makes contact is too much of a coincidence. This would be really creepy to see in real life, but that'd be the only way I'd be convinced that this video is actually real. A YouTuber named Dylan HD decides to explore an abandoned house with some friends. The home still has some furnishings, including a wall full of creepy paintings of children. The far end of the house is completely dark, and they are hesitant to explore this section. Finally, one of them bravely goes into the darkened corner and comes back shaken. He announces someone is looking at them through the window. Pay attention to the thin beam of light behind him during this clip, because that's the window he's referring to.
There's someone who's at the window.
Act.
Someone was at the window.
It's gone really bright now. Is the window after open?
No, it's the same.
Oh!
The thin beam of light silently extinguishes as the window is closed by whoever was on the other side. It's important to note that all three friends were close together when this happened. One could be seen on tape, the second was holding the camera, and the third could be heard directly to their right. The trio runs screaming out of the house and never looks back. YouTuber named Tracy is recording a video at the Hedingham Castle in England while on vacation with her husband. The voices and footsteps of other visitors easily carry throughout the castle, but it's just good acoustics, and they are not nearly as close as they sound. Anyway, look what happens while Tracy is standing motionless next to her husband in a large room all by themselves.
Sure, but I think I just saw a shadow walk across the wall.
A shadow clearly passes across the wall in front of them, but as Tracy pans the room, you can see that no one else is present. None of the windows or entrances completely line up, yet the shadow looks very human in nature and appears to be coming from directly behind them. Is Lainey and Ben's poltergeist getting stronger? Watch this video and judge for yourself. As usual, the poltergeist seems to be most active in the kitchen.
Activity more and more aggressive.
He has even resorted to ruining their dinner.
Poltergeists just seem to be so frustrated.
Oh, bless them. Oh, bless them.
And he isn't finished. It goes without saying that Lainey and Ben share space with one of the most active poltergeists on YouTube. I don't know if Dave and Andy are becoming more aggressive due to anger, or if their YouTube following is cheering them on. This grainy cell phone video comes from the SNDT Women's University in Mumbai, India. They are walking down a long hall filled with various classroom conversations when they see another student coming the opposite way. Well, I guess they didn't technically see them, since it was only a pair of shoes with nobody attached. Tell me, am I losing my mind? Or if this really is a ghost student going to class, will you expect to find some creepy stuff in an abandoned funeral home? Abandoned remains are probably not among the usual suspects. Published to YouTube by RNK All Day in March of 2020, the channel writes, "We found ashes inside an abandoned funeral home that was condemned due to the funeral director leaving and hiding bodies. It was located in North Carolina. It was closed down in 2012 after client complaints. The funeral home's former owner was put behind bars for not burying the individuals." RNK All Day explores this home and its unnerving history. Amongst the creepy things found inside are Polaroids of the passed on individuals and a squatter's bed made up inside the building. But of course, the most unsettling thing they encountered was a bag of ashes in a torn cardboard box. According to a timestamp on the box, they were from 1995, meaning they've remained there for over 2 decades. Let's hope they finally received a proper burial. This video looks like it was intentionally set up to capture something that has been appearing in a closet lately. At first, you can't really see anything, but after a while, the shadows begin to form into a human-like figure. The shadowy shape peeks out from behind the door, and at one point even appears to have 2 bright white eyes. The grainy quality of this video is a strong indication that it was edited. But then again, this may be a very old cell phone video, or perhaps a very early internet video that needed to be heavily compressed before uploading. When a New York man's dog kept barking all night for no apparent reason, the dog's owner set out to investigate. He set up a CCTV camera to see if there was a reason behind his dog's behavior, and what he discovered explained everything. Posted to Reddit by UJ Hood, his friend's CCTV captured a figure shortly after 11 p.m. On January 29, 2017, the figure appears to be carrying a flashlight, hurrying across the snow. What is so unusual about this capture is that, although the figure is walking upright on 2 feet, it isn't clear whether it's human or not. To further the mystery, the obscure being disappears halfway across the yard, although the flashlight continues to bop up and down against what may be a fence. The footage has some wondering whether the mysterious disappearance of the figure was simply a camera trick of blur and fade, a shadowy illusion, or something more sinister. Those leaning towards the latter note the figure's glowing eyes, strange spindly form, and weird movements. One user said that there's something strange going on, like why the background never gets obstructed after the figure passes by. Others suggest to follow the tracks, if there are any. What do you think this is? Whatever it is, it makes no sense. A Reddit user named Necromimi posted this CCTV of a ghost captured at her friend's home. A translucent figure walks back and forth from one side of the room to the other multiple times, often fading from sight about midway across and reappearing a few feet away. After a while, it becomes slower and moves in place, eventually fading away into an orb that floats up towards the camera and disappears. The remarkable timing of this event rules out any possibility of a glitch, which makes me suspect that this was either some clever editing or truly paranormal. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Adams is trying to sneak into the Chatham Hospital through the basement. This hospital is supposedly well guarded with high-tech security systems and even dogs. I'm not sure what he expects to find inside, but it's probably not these bright yellow chunks of rotting insulation. Hopefully this is normal and not asbestos, a type of building material often used in old hospitals that is known to cause very bad health effects. After about 5 minutes of navigating through dark tunnels and dead ends, he pops open a ceiling panel and drops down inside the main building. The hospital's dirty white rooms are mostly empty. At one point he does come across this mysterious message written backwards in jagged red letters, but I can't make out what it says. Let me know if you can. Less than 2 minutes later, he finds himself running down the hospital hallways as fast as he can.
Alarm, people! Alarm! Alarm!
Exploring with Adams double times it through the basement tunnel system and scrambles above ground. He gets away for now, but hopefully no street cameras tracked his escape. Don Brada is checking out the crumbling floors of an abandoned office building while wearing a head cam. It isn't long before he hears what could be a door slam shut in the distance.
I swear I heard somebody.
He unsheaths a blunt instrument for protection and continues looking around. Part of him wants to leave, but there's just one more floor left to cover. Eventually, he comes across a section of the building that has collapsed into a large dark hole. I personally don't see anything, but some people claim to see another person looking back in the darkness. Tell me what you see, if anything. The whole time, Don Brada can't shake the feeling that he's being watched. So he leaves the building before anything can take him by surprise. Who knows what would have happened if he stayed there much longer, or worse still, visited at night. Here's even more reason to not build your house too close to the ocean. Posted to Twitter by @CaptivatedNPS, an unoccupied house was captured on video collapsing into the sea off Rodenthade, North Carolina in early May of this year. The footage shows the two-story house on stilts, standing precariously near the aggressive waves as the wind whips through. Then its front stilts give way, collapsing the house head first into the sea. It lands flat and is pulled out to sea for a moment by the tide, but the waves quickly push it back in. After a while, it comes to a standstill on the shore, looking shoddy and dilapidated. Reports say that this is the second unoccupied house to collapse on this day at Cape Hatteras. This is not a good day for those homeowners. A group of British friends are playing catch in a courtyard when one of them sees something strange and points it out to the others. The camera follows his gaze and stops on a pale face looking at them from high above. The sickly person looks at them for a second longer before silently slipping out of view. The group is now creeped out and wants to know who has been spying on them this whole time. They tell the property manager about the face they saw in the window, but she says that it's impossible. The room they are talking about has been locked and unoccupied for quite some time. The manager goes up with them to unlock the door and show them around. They try and find the person, but the place is completely empty. There's no way anyone could have been up there, yet the camera obviously says differently. The mysterious peeper has never been identified. Bright lights can play tricks on you, but this is not a trick. Published by Lane Ghost Hunter in August of 2011, this scary phantom was captured on camera in a driveway. The driveway is dark at first, nothing there. When the car turns on its headlights, the woman holding the camera gasps. That's because she sees this creepy semi-transparent figure appear against the wall for a moment. After shaking in fear, the camera steadies and the figure is gone. Do you see it? Or is it just a figment of our collective imaginations? Remember when you were younger and you heard the twinkling song of the ice cream truck calling all the neighborhood out for a sweet treat? Well, would you have come running if it had sounded like this? YouTuber Sean Bob Guy published this clip in June of 2008, writing that this demonic ice cream van shows up every single day at his apartment complex. The thing always scares his cat. The cat is probably not the only one with hair on end. Usually parents tell their kids if strangers offer candy to run like heck, particularly strangers in white creepy vans. Well, this scenario isn't too far off. The ice cream truck's tune sounds nothing short of creepy, giving it a distinct horror movie vibe. You know, the warbling song right before Chucky pops out and takes a life. You can almost expect the clown from It to be serving up soft serves from this truck. Probably not the most inviting image. To add to the creepiness, the vehicle isn't even a truck but is literally a white van driving very slowly through a neighborhood to lure passers-by. And at the end of the video, it seems one is lured as a person comes running over to order from the creepiest ice cream van ever. YouTuber Lynn writes in the comments, "If animals act weird around this sort of thing, it's definitely haunted." The rat nest adds, "And the people who posted this were never seen again." One thing's for sure, this evil tune should never exist. While spending the night in a haunted location in Saskatchewan, Canada, Redditor Purgatory Adventures felt the lightest touch. First they see a figure on the Connect.
There it is again. Can you wave to us if that's you?
This is like directly right in front of me.
Can you wave if that's you? Whoa, it just picked up its hand. Can you wave? Can you wave to us?
They ask the figure to put both arms up, and it complies.
Thank you so much. Can you put both arms up in the air? Can you put them both up? Can you put the right and left? Oh, just went up. Dude, can you hold them up?
The figure is reluctant to reach for his hand.
Anyway.
Can you reach for my hand? Can you reach for it? Can you grab?
What the?
Can you reach for it?
But at last he reaches out.
For my hand.
Oh, there he is.
Whoa.
There it is.
Whoa, I felt that.
It just touched you.
I felt it.
While some believe this is a ghost, others think it's an interaction between people in parallel universes.
I felt it touch my hand.
I've gotta say, I prefer that explanation. This dashcam video was supposedly taken near Hanoi, Vietnam, and was posted on Facebook where it spread to the local news. In it, the car soon pulls up to a figure dressed in all white standing in the middle of the road. The drivers are quite concerned that this individual is standing in the middle of a pitch black road, alone besides one street light above. They don't ask the person anything. Instead, they quickly drive away. While many online thought it was a ghost of some kind, news agencies have said that this was a woman who is not mentally well and was possibly attempting to take her own life. Let's hope she got the help she needed before it was too late. YouTubers Gankwapi are playing the Ouija board in a different form, using a glass in place of a planchette.
Hey. มีใครดันไหมใครดันกูตบจริงนะมึงตบเลยนะมึงนะ
The glass starts moving on its own, then something screeches overhead.
จอจาน
They think it's an owl. Shortly after, one of the group feels something behind him.
Hey. Hey. อยู่ไหน
And as they all start to feel that the spirit was angry, this happens.
ว่าเขาเริ่มไม่พอใจเนี่ยเขาจะมาพักยังไงรบกวนเขาหรอมั่งรบกวนเขาไม่พอใจเลย
I don't think that this can be fabricated. I think this video is real, and it is terrifying. If you have a heart, this entry will break it. It was this woman's dream to arrive at her wedding by helicopter. She decided to surprise her husband at the altar by doing just that. Alongside her brother in July of 2017, she climbed aboard the copter. The flight took off in Brazil, just 1 mile from the reception venue. The excited bride-to-be and her brother are both smiling at the beginning of the video as they take off. But soon they're swallowed up by fog, an alarm starts going off and the camera begins to shake. You can hear the passengers screaming as the pilot loses control of the copter. All 4 pass away in the incident. When the copter didn't arrive at the venue after 15 minutes, despite the organizers being informed of its liftoff, the pastor was forced to tell the groom the devastating news, as neither he nor any of the other 300 guests had known about the planned entrance. The incident came as an absolute horror to the entire wedding party. It's painful to imagine and harder to watch. Erwin Saunders enchants us again with these captures of a folkloric woodland creature. Published in October of 2021, Erwin was searching for another creature when he caught this one unexpectedly near a small waterfall. The creature flits quickly into view, too fast to see clearly. It makes a reappearance again later, but it still moves too fast for the human eye.
Yeah.
Some in the comments note that in slow motion, the creature appeared to have a big head and bat-like wings. What is this thing? Is it truly a folkloric woodland creature? Because that appears to be the case. Give your haunted eyes a rub and take another look. Mutations are not an uncommon occurrence amongst calves, but they are rare enough where witnessing one might surprise you. This calf was born in Villa Ana, Argentina in September of 2019, and it did indeed surprise its owners, as it appeared to have a human face. The calf was born with a malformed skull, a small nose and mouth, and had difficulty holding its head up. It passed away within hours of this video, but farmers shared the footage online, sending the video viral. Speaking to local media, genetics expert Nicholas Menego said the calf might have possessed a rare genetic mutation. Similar incidents have been captured on video across the world, with a two-headed calf with features to boot, 2 mouths and 4 eyes, in India earlier in 2019. Although not too unusual from a biological standpoint, I think we can all agree that looking into the sad-looking eyes of this calf, after knowing what happened to it, takes courage. The historic Jefferson has plenty of haunting footage. This clip is one of the most chilling, captured by a guest staying in the doll room. The footage shows one of the room's many dolls coming to life. First, watch behind the pillow.
It just peers out like that for about a minute. That movement though.
Something peers out. It's one of the dolls. A moment later, the doll falls over. This is the doll in question. The staff shares its creepy history.
It does have history to it. Typically, we'll put the doll here just to make it look kind of creepy, but we've had several guests say that the doll's not there, and we'll come and look, and the doll will be behind the chair. One time, that was.
The doll is creepy just looking at it, but this footage on top of its history of innate creepiness ensures that I can't handle staying in the doll room. A man is all by himself when he hears a wild animal tearing through his home. Eventually, he corners it in the bathroom and cautiously enters with a camera. This is what he records moments before running away to call the police. A wide-eyed humanoid slowly straightens out while eyeing him with a calm expression. Like the uploader says, it's hard to tell if this was a human or not, and everything from genetic experiments to the rake has been suggested in the comments. Is this video real? And if so, what do you think it was? Who is standing in the shadows? Published in December of 2021, the Cornish Ghost Whispers Paranormal UK team managed to capture a full-body apparition of what appears to be a man. The footage was taken at South Wheel Francis Tin Mine. In the darkness between two large pillars, a dark figure manifests before their very eyes. The woman says hello to the apparition several times, but receives no answer.
Keep sharing, guys. Look at this. Hello? Hello?
She points out on camera where the figure appears. Do you see the Tin Mine Man? Or is it just a trick of the light? Redditor Go Bartlett went apartment viewing, and what they spotted in the footage later gave them pause. Watch the walkthrough and see if you can spot it. Did you see it? Keep your eye on the far corner of the room, next to the window. It looks like a tentacle reaches out from the corner of the wall before disappearing a moment later. The Redditors in the comments had some thoughts. Well, the comments on this one are the usual mixed bag. I personally like to think something Stranger Things-esque is living in the walls here. I too would skip this one. Well, inside this haunted house, these ghost hunters are lured into the forest. Published by Lomar Mendez in October of 2021. The pair consider whether or not something is in the house with them, and as they explore the house, they hear something.
That was probably creaky.
Their camera's light appears to be malfunctioning, and soon they become positive that someone else is here.
Someone's here, someone's here, someone's here, someone's here.
As they wait in fear, they hear a strange noise from the next room, and then they see the figure. They take this as their cue to leave. While they do escape the house without incident, they're being followed, but the big reveal is yet to come. Well, this is a pretty messed up thing for a dad to do. These two should look on the bright side. This could have ended so much worse. Creepy lights in a dark basement. A sure sign that something in your house has gone wrong. A YouTuber named The Drum Player 101 has a quick clip of something strange caught on camera.
Lately I've been seeing and hearing weird things in my basement. Let's go check it out. Oh.
Glowing eyes look back at them from within the darkness, and the two scared brothers run away. When they return for a second, they find it still there, a small creature low to the ground with large, unblinking eyes. They say it's a ghost, but it could be a fake video using their pet cat. I thought it was weird of them to keep their cat in the basement, in the dark, but I looked it up, and sometimes they do like curling up in small, isolated spaces. At 13 seconds, it looks like the animal is raising its head like it was taking a nap. Cat eyes can reflect a large array of colors, and blue, while not as common, is not unheard of, so I don't believe this video is real. With that said, this video of creepy eyes watching you from the darkness could help explain all of the other similar videos like it. Number 2. Some urban explorations go from 0 to 100 pretty quickly, and this is one of them. Published to YouTube by Chris Hopkins in June of 2020. While exploring an abandoned naval base on a cold, windy night, as soon as Chris and his crew walked into this building, they heard a loud bang right beside them.
Over there.
Still, they decided to explore the rest of the base, no harm done, until they were getting ready to leave. After walking through the woods, as they were squeezing through a hole in the fence to get to their car, they heard what Chris describes as a Bigfoot, or a ghost, chasing after them. He says it again sounded like it was right next to them. The demonic roar is heard at least 2 more times after they get through the fence. Chris says they were running so fast that his friend lost his phone in the escape. Of course, other than the creature with big feet, there are other theories. Some think the roar came from a wild pig or a goat man, and some agree that it does indeed sound demonic. Any other ideas? Those ones already have me terrified. When Reactor 4 burst at Chernobyl in 1986, a 10-kilometer exclusion zone was formed and thereafter was increased to 30 kilometers. The initial steam blast resulted in 2 passed away, while a further 28 passed within months of exposure. These numbers do not even touch upon the total passing toll caused by radiation, and they also don't touch upon the mutations in humans or animals in the area, which brings us to this footage published in March of 2014. The uploader states that the video is filmed at Chernobyl power plant. A close-up of an animal in the area appears to show a headless form on 4 legs running across the railroad tracks. It almost looks like a headless deer. Some in the comments say that it looks like a large deer with the face of a rabbit, or a moose with a twisted neck, and still others say the creature appears as though its neck is deformed and bending towards the opposite side. Mutant or not, kinda makes you wonder what other nightmare creatures are lurking in the area. This creepy moment, caught on a doorbell cam from Knoxville, Tennessee, shows a shadowy creature dart across Brian Hobbs' suburban yard and then mysteriously disappear. Bizarre, right? Okay, so maybe seeing this mysterious creature sighting one time can be explained away as a camera glitch, but when the moving shadows returns and materializes into a wild animal running the opposite way, you know this scary moment could be paranormal. This scary video goes to show that real ghost sightings caught on doorbell cam aren't limited to humans. A YouTuber named Sasha is enjoying her vacation in South Korea when she notices a clown in a dirty outfit and a wrinkled white mask is appearing in a lot of her shots. He starts out far away and gets progressively closer until he is practically breathing on her at times.
He looks creepy. Does he look at me?
Sasha plays it off like a joke at first, but when the clown follows her into the mall, she realizes that this is a real issue and she needs to lose him fast.
Because this strange guy, he's here, and it's not funny. Look. He look at me.
She tries hiding, but when that doesn't work, she calls a passenger service to come pick her up just as the man switches from a walk to a run. I guess she doesn't know that the police number in Korea is 112, so she does the next best thing and runs away as the clown gains on her. Her ride pulls up just in time and she manages to escape. Even though Sasha didn't call the authorities, she still handled the situation well by getting away from this stranger as fast as possible. Breaking into a vehicle under the cover of darkness is common. Doing it directly in front of the car's owner, not so much. Published by Doorbell News in October of 2021, this crazy thief must have been seriously desperate. A woman is sitting outside her home in Phoenix, Arizona, talking on her phone as a toddler toddles around, doing baby things. While chatting, she looks up from her phone to find a man breaking into her friend Bubba's vehicle right in front of the house.
Hey! Hey! What are you doing? Bubba, is that...
The entire creepy event was captured on a Ring doorbell camera. You can vaguely see the man's white shirt as he approaches and then breaks into the vehicle. He didn't technically have to break anything as the car was open. The woman alerts her friend inside, who rushes out to see what's going on.
Can I pull you back? Hey!
The guard dog sets off a 12-bark alarm. Thankfully, the man wasn't able to take off in the vehicle before the police were called. In the description, the woman notes that he was taken into police custody. Definitely one for the books in my opinion. You don't see this every day. A London vacation goes from romantic to horrifying for a YouTube channel called YouTube Vlogs when everyone begins running at once at a train station. You can feel the panic taking over as multiple people shout the same questions without any clear answer.
What's going on? What's happening?
YouTube Vlogs separates from the stampeding crowd and escapes only by scrambling over a dumpster and climbing a fence to safety. Notice how only younger people are able to do this. Those less mobile were sadly left behind in the chaos. It later turns out that the evacuation was caused after a vapor device accidentally blew up inside of someone's suitcase. It's crazy to think how a tiny malfunction could have caused thousands of people to run for their lives. If everyone had somehow remained calm, maybe more information about this event could have been passed on instead of panicking. A YouTuber named Joe's Paranormal TV decides to explore a haunted forest in Michigan in the early morning hours. The first thing they notice is how all of the trees look unnatural, like nothing they've ever seen before. In fact, the deeper into the forest they go, the stranger things seem to get.
What was that?
A metallic clang draws their attention, followed by faint cries in the distance.
You hear that? What the?
Joe thinks he sees moving shadows and tries to reassure himself that he and his friend are alone in the wilderness. Still, his camera's batteries are draining fast despite being brand new, and now he feels like he's being watched. Joe's equipment starts to malfunction for a moment. It clears up just in time to catch this noise.
It's creepy out here, man. Not sure what direction it came from though. It sounded like right up ahead of us here.
It's the unmistakable sound of a baby crying. I think that they probably really did hear this, but let me know if you think it's real or edited. Anyway, they eventually find a clearing of slashed trees that have been rearranged into strange symbols. Maybe someone in the comments section can tell me if these are pagan symbols or not, and if so, what they mean and what they would be doing here. Eventually, Joe's terror becomes unmanageable, and he flees after he thinks he hears something close by. Strange voices continue to follow Joe and his friend as they make their way out. East Riddlesden Hall in West Yorkshire, England, is considered one of Britain's most haunted houses. While at the hall, YouTuber Roman Joe took a video of the old barn to send to her partner. When she watched it back, she noticed something strange. Let's take a look. Did you see it? Watch the window to the left of the carriage. Something seems to block the light for a moment. The YouTuber believes it's a spirit passing by the window. If it's true that no one was on site, to me the only thing that could explain this is if that window had a shutter that just so happened to move with the wind at the same moment that the camera pans past. Otherwise, this is for sure the Grey Lady, and I think they should get out of there immediately. This video comes from a YouTuber named Mike Robbins and his team of paranormal investigators. They are using a modified Kinect camera and special software to hunt ghosts while wandering around the basement of an old abandoned asylum when suddenly their equipment detects a major hit.
Can you come back and talk to us? Oh, there he is. Hi, buddy.
Mike asks the ghost for its name, how long it's lived here, if it likes living here, and other questions, but gets no response. The spirit does not seem to want to cooperate.
Oh, now he's waving. Thank you. Or maybe he's telling us to go. I don't know.
It's hard to tell if the ghost is waving at them or shooing them away. If this is an insane asylum, then maybe this ghost just wants to be left alone. Then again, there's no real way to verify if the equipment really does work, so we'll never know for sure. When you enter an abandoned building, you don't expect to find a fully functioning service room inside, but that's what YouTuber Shai found in February of 2018. The footage begins at the top of a tower in an industrial looking area. He then enters the building. The place is obviously mysteriously abandoned, with no soul in sight, an empty auditorium, a lonely ping pong table, and then descending to the cold, dark basement, which is where he finds the service room in question. Picking up the phone, although he doesn't hear a dial tone, he does receive the tone indicating the phone has been disconnected. Also inside are loads of hardware and servers, blinking lights flashing and all. Next, he happens upon an old computer, which he plugs in. Pushing the button on the tower, the modem turns on. Windows 95 appears, then a black screen with code. A username password screen appears. After attempting to enter something, Shai is told by his live streamers to hit cancel, which he does. He is then allowed to enter. After exploring the computer's contents for a bit, Shai decides to unplug the computer and gets out of there, muttering about a potential secret government project. Was Shai on the right track? Did he just tap into something top secret? I guess we will never know what were on those computers, unless Shai decides to go back and investigate further. Dennis Allen takes an inner tube down the local creek. It's something he's done often before, but this time it's raining and the currents are stronger than he has ever seen. Still, Dennis is confident in his abilities and bravely sets forward. The ride starts out gentle enough, but soon picks up speed as he moves into more open waters. Soon he really begins to regret not bringing a paddle, as he is carried through low-hanging branches and other thorny obstacles. He manages to keep his balance for about 5 minutes, until it becomes apparent that he can no longer hold on.
Oh shoot, this is dangerous.
He is carried downstream and eventually clings to a bridge while water rushes beneath him. Dennis seems to be trying to stay calm, but I can detect some fear in his voice, perhaps more than he is meant to let on. He quickly realizes pulling himself out of the water is going to be a lot harder than he initially thought.
Oh, this was something stupid. Oh shoot.
Dennis slowly works his way to the shallow end, without letting go, and eventually he climbs out with the help of a nearby bridge pole. Looking down, you can see he was clearly not exaggerating the danger. The current is strong enough to pull a full-grown man under. When something goes bump in the night, you just better hope you're not working the night shift. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by MX Theory of Dogs. The Redditor writes, friend works for a pharmacy as security. He was notified the alarm was going off at 2 a.m., which is triggered by internal sensors. He arrived and found nothing wrong, but reviewed the footage to find the cause and saw this. He said this was the security guard's first encounter with the paranormal, if it is in fact paranormal activity. The footage shows a shelving unit pressed up against a wall, full of products and assumedly medicine. Watch the fourth shelf. Several items can be seen falling with force. One hits the ground and skids away out of sight. The other hits the ground and appears to break into 6 separate rectangular pieces. While most in the comments of this video are cracking pharmacy jokes, some are asking thoughtful questions about the history of the building, or whether or not something like this has happened in the past. Others who say they're pharmacists or caregivers claim this strange stuff happens all the time in their line of work. Allison333, however, gets the last laugh, writing, I guess you can say they had a short shelf life. We see what you did there, Allison. A flying ghost has been caught on home CCTV video, claims a man in India who uploaded this bizarre late night sighting. A pure white object briefly pokes out of the woods. The supposed ghost video is low resolution and could be almost anything from a flashlight to wildlife. It looks weird, but I'm not exactly convinced he didn't just throw something himself. Connor is an urban explorer from the UK who has been making urbex videos for over 3 years and has had his share of eerie encounters. The Explorer Returns is the name of his channel, and on it are 2 places in particular that I bet he wished he never stepped foot in. One of them is the Merrick Park Nursing Home. Shut down in 2014, the nursing home became the center of controversy after 2 residents lost their lives due to neglect. An investigation revealed the elderly were being fed medication that was out of date and didn't work. They were also helplessly exposed in cold water baths for prolonged periods of time, and other mistreatments that no one should have to endure. It's pitch black outside when Connor and his friend Daniel find the place, and the inside is just as dark. His flashlight combs across room after room filled with flowers sent by family members who had no idea what miserable conditions their loved ones were being kept in. The doors still have names on them, and the residents seem to respond to having their name read aloud.
Mary Brown.
Connor enters one room and a feeling of intense unease makes him let out an involuntary moan. A woman's laughter comes from the corner of the room by a pile of her former possessions that are no doubt teeming with energy from her passing. Like I said before, it's only Connor and Daniel, so they shouldn't be hearing any other voices, let alone a laugh like this one. At any rate, the spirits seem relatively friendly until they make a mistake at 2 minutes and 19 seconds by wiping some leaves off of these 2 names with their shoe. They meant no disrespect by the gesture, just the opposite actually, but stepping on the names of those who have passed in their own home is bound not to go over well. After all, these spirits have already experienced enough mistreatment when they were still alive. Connor steps at the doorway of a laundry room lined with someone's clothes. He doesn't notice the arm of the shirt sleeve move on its own. It's probably just a draft from the open window now that I look closer at it, but that still doesn't explain the angry eyes peering at him from within. They somehow miss this and instead focus on something upstairs. The power is off, and yet a strange chime takes them up a floor. The tension grows as they track it from room to room until the source is only a few feet away.
In here, it's in here. Yes, in here.
They find a motion sensor that stays on for as long as the door remains open. However, it wasn't going off until recently, so that means the door must have just opened when no one was on that floor. It's weird, but they're more relieved it's not an alarm, so they press on to the 3rd floor. Holes in the roof have left some rooms filled with leaves and open to the elements. They don't find much up here, and when they are ready to leave, their suspicions about opening doors are confirmed.
Nothing, just empty, just rooms. It's all just...
The door that they had clearly left open at 12 minutes and 50 seconds is now mysteriously closed. Either it has shut on its own, which is certainly possible because it's pretty thin and lightweight, or else something closed it besides them. As they are leaving the Merrick Park nursing home, the camera picks up a final occurrence. Listen. The craziest of all, though, has to be when Connor explores an abandoned asylum at 1 in the morning. Through the woods and under a gate lies the hapless estate, where many were held their entire lives. It takes Connor 8 minutes just to find an unboarded window, and by then he is almost too fearful to venture inside. Aside from the paranormal, this looks to be a possible hangout for tough locals as well. The inside is completely and unnaturally silent. The house doesn't creak, crack, or settle at all. Connor keeps hearing things that don't register up on camera, and he suspects that something is in the large room with him. He sets up a K2 meter to detect electromagnetic energy but finds none. He talks out loud to a spirit who apparently isn't there, then gets moving again. Or maybe the spirit was listening close by all along.
Let's go upstairs.
When he goes into the next room, he catches on camera a fleeting glimpse of a tall shadow at 12 minutes and 15 seconds. He doesn't see the shadow man in real life, but his equipment certainly does. It's not graffiti either, if that's what you were thinking, because when he comes back downstairs and turns at 17 minutes 4 seconds, the wall it was standing against is clean. It's nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, the room where Connor left his K2 meter suddenly experiences odd activity as a mysterious white light slowly grows into a beam for a full minute, from 15 minutes and 15 seconds to 16 minutes and 15 seconds, and then fades away. He goes back to the K2 meter and runs some more experiments. None of his questions get any answers, and it doesn't seem interested in communicating with him at all, or at least not as much as it wants to from a distance. He sets up the K2 meter in another room and decides if this doesn't work, then he will end the investigation. He doesn't know that he has already caught both a shadow figure and a mysterious white light on tape already, and is growing somewhat frustrated. Just when he is ready to give up, the shadow man returns. And as he quivers in the cold, he fails to miss two eyes looking at him from the doorway where the footsteps just were. The K2 meter still hasn't gone off, but that's because it's not in the room with him. It's clearly waiting just outside.
I'm done. I'm so done.
Upon announcing that this investigation is over, the Shadow Man takes it upon himself to walk into the same room and make itself known.
Holy.
We've all heard about miracles, but sometimes you just gotta see to believe. So let's see. A-Dimensional Paranormal published this video in August of 2016, writing in Spanish. Recorded by a person in the chapel of the Saltillo Cathedral in Mexico. The clip opens on the inside of a dark chapel with only a few candles lit and some low lights surrounding the statue above an altar. Low church chanting can be heard in the background. At first glance, a close-up of the statue appears to reveal nothing out of the ordinary, but upon closer inspection, the closed eyes of a statue glare open eerily. Watch it again. Did it give you chills? Is this a miracle or something else? You decide. Personally, I think it'd be hard to fake with the camera moving so much, which makes me think it's real. A YouTuber named Roy Flores has a strange encounter over the skies of New Jersey when he sees a mysterious aircraft hovering near the overpass he's driving on.
Look, the whole street is stopped. There's a flying spaceship.
And he's not the only one who sees it. Dozens of other cars have pulled over and people are getting out to take video of this strange phenomenon with their cameras, each wondering if this is the moment we finally made contact. A Goodyear blimp is the official explanation for this scary event, but I have serious doubts. I mean, you'd think all these people would know the difference between a blimp, which we've all seen, and something truly bizarre instead. A lot of people are saying this is a cover story for this strange sighting in the sky. Well, I think this design looks way too creepy to be some kind of company blimp. After cutting a giant hole into a concrete wall, YouTuber Cyrex686 climbs through the hole to show us the secret room he's found beyond the wall. It's not big, but it is something, he says, noting that there's an unconnected pipe coming diagonal down the wall in the room. In one corner of the ceiling, there's a hook. At another point in the wall, another pipe juts out, but leads nowhere. A pile of wood is piled on the ground, tied with a length of rope. The point of this secret room is unclear. Whether it has no utility or some secret use, we may never know. While attempting to give a virtual tour of his home, this YouTuber discovers something unsettling. His home is haunted. Let's take a look. Notice that the table and chairs are all set, everything appears normal. He passes them again on the tour, again normal. After touring the rest of the house, he returns to the dining room. This is where things get spooky. I don't know about you, but that creepy ending definitely left me feeling very unsettled. School is the last place most people want to be in general, but in a crisis, there's an added layer of angst. Published by the Anchorage School District in December of 2018, a classroom security camera captured the scary magnitude 7.1 quake as it hit Anchorage, Alaska on November 30th of that same year at about 8:30 in the morning. The video shows the room and its objects start to tremble as the camera begins to shake. Coached for such an event, the students know what to do as they jump under their desks without any prompting from the teacher, who ducks under a desk as well. The projector shakes the most aggressively, while objects are seen falling from the desks and walls. The power goes out for a moment and you can hear the teacher trying to keep the students calm.
Cover your mouth with your shirt.
After the initial quaking comes to an end, the teacher tells the kids to remain under the desks.
Everybody okay?
Breathing, going.
Stay underneath the table.
After a while, the fire alarm goes off, and the students retreat from the classroom. More than 80 aftershocks followed throughout the day, with 3 reaching magnitudes of 5.0 or greater. One of them occurred just 6 minutes after this original quake. Way to keep calm and carry on. A YouTuber named Benjamin Bennett makes videos where he smiles for literally hours at a time. No one knows why he does it. Maybe it's performance art or maybe he is a little unstable. Either way, videos of a man smiling at you for hours at a time are deeply unsettling. Then, one day, Benjamin Bennett frowned. I think that maybe his facial muscles were cramping up after hours of smiling, or maybe he was playing a practical joke on us. Other viewers, however, are sure that Benjamin Bennett is being held against his will and is being forced to smile by someone off camera. Let me know which explanation you think is true based on what you've seen here. It isn't long before he sees a familiar gray truck, the same one that chased him away from this area just the other day. He is only riding for about 2 full minutes when he sees the same truck again, much closer this time. Fearing for his life, Raptor 125 speeds out of the neighborhood and onto a dirt track, the gray truck on his tail the whole time. Not even sharp turns at high speeds are enough to get the vehicle off him, and Raptor 125 has little doubt that this person has the worst intentions possible waiting for him if he slows down. If he falls off his bike at this moment, for example, then there wouldn't be enough time for the driver to swerve out of the way. The chase only ends when a farmer watching the whole thing stops the truck. Otherwise, who knows how far this chase would have gone. Laney and Ben's haunted house has turned up the intensity in recent months. Now things are levitating. Watch the lamp to the left. A little later, a cutlery drawer opens and closes in the kitchen. Then the tap turns on. You can hear the water running. It turns off and back on again. Shortly after, a strange, unexplained sound is heard. This is followed by some more strange noise, which sounds to me like a garbage disposal. Although all of the activity frightens me, the levitation in the beginning has me really hooked. It also has plenty of people really scared. Stay tuned for more fear. A YouTuber named Seeking Legends has over 7 years worth of videos where he tracks down spirits and cryptids throughout the Las Vegas area and surrounding states. His subscribers know he doesn't play up his videos at all and isn't afraid to say when he thinks a location has nothing abnormal to offer. This wasn't the case when he went to a haunted forest on February 16, 2018 in search of the infamous White Witch, the spirit of a woman who once hiked this area a lot with her family and who was taken captive by unsavory locals. She escaped, but her family did not, and ever since then she has been roaming the woods looking for revenge. She cursed the land before taking her life in the very spot Cryptid Hunter stands now. He uses a paranormal dowsing rod, which is said to be able to tap into supernatural energy to better communicate with any nearby spirits. It isn't long before he finds one to speak with.
Can you point the rod to me? You see that I'm not moving this.
And I do mean speak with. There are no approaching footsteps, so it's not someone hiking, just eerie voices carrying over the water, just like the legends say, and the voices patiently wait until the command is complete before talking again.
Spin the rod in the opposite direction of me.
I don't think it's his nerves moving the rod, and his hand looks almost completely still to me, so maybe there's some truth to this piece of equipment after all.
If you were a victim of somebody in here, can you make my rod spin, please?
Here is an even better close-up of his hand at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. As the spirits continue to turn it around and around, none of his fingers are moving at all in the slightest. When asked for additional confirmation that the White Witch is here, 2 strange notes play. If you don't think this is paranormal, then tell me what you think would have made this noise in the middle of the forest. Soon he feels a presence guiding him and uses the rod to determine where to go next.
If this is where you want me to be, stop spinning the rod. Now. Where are you standing? Point the rod.
These instructions are further confirmed using his EMF meter, and at the end is a strange beeping noise coming from deeper in the woods that the EMF meter can't even make.
If this is where you wanted me to stand.
And just to prove it wasn't a coincidence, he easily gets it to respond again.
Can you do that again? Thank you.
There's no button on the meter for him to press to make it go up, supernatural or not. This was all the work of an external force of some kind. Every time he challenges the witch to move the meter, it does so without fail. Like here, for example, the timing is too much of a coincidence to be fake.
Unless you can make this device go on, then I'm not gonna believe that anything is here, haunting this area.
Apparently, it must have grown frustrated using the EMF meter over and over again, so it decides to answer his demands in a different way.
Make the lights go on. If you are the soul...
And before you say these are just lightning bugs, look again. They go from left to right one time, and then start over again in the exact same spot, so it's likely not an insect. It's getting dark soon, and the park closes, so Seeking Legends has to leave. Hopefully someday he returns to resume the conversation. But witch spirits aren't his only specialty. As mentioned before, Seeking Legends has experience hunting cryptids too. The desert cave is said to be plagued by skinwalkers, skinwalkers, vicious tricksters of Native American legend who can assume a semi-human animal-like form. He isn't able to go down far because of breathing problems, but his worries start no sooner than the entrance when this glow stick, hung up as a marker to avoid getting lost, begins to sway in place all on its own. He's nowhere near where it begins to move, and maybe it's just me, but it looks like it's swinging even harder 3 minutes later, definitely not slowing down. Then outside of the cave he hears what could be a Native American drum.
Listen, I hope the camera's catching that.
Hello?
And with one hand on the camera and the other visible, the angle shows it couldn't have been him making the noise.
Please tell me you guys heard that.
I will admit that the drums are a little hard to hear, but this last part isn't. Try to tell me what this voice is saying, because it sounds like it might be a different language to me, perhaps even backwards. I'm interested to see if you think this is a skinwalker or voiceover editing. It sounds like it's coming from behind the camera to me, but I'm not sure. Believe it or not, this doll is scarier than she looks. Published by Rota X in November of 2020. They encounter this creepy doll directly upon entering, covered in red. Let's hope that's paint. And then this happens. After they're running away as fast as they can from the demon doll, they realize a presence is still with them. It makes itself known via the EMF meter. Has whatever possessed that doll latched onto them? Time to call an exorcist. When strange things start happening inside your house, it's probably for a reason. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by the Dude 101. This video was originally published to YouTube by Truthfinder 30330 in April of 2020. According to the title, paranormal occurrences have been happening in this man's home. The first odd thing you notice is that when the man walks into his living room, the door is shut while he's arranging his gaming console and things on his entertainment center. The door opens somehow. He heads over to look outside and check it out. After finding no one, he returns inside and the door slams shut. He goes back outside, but there's no one there, no one inside either. As he's looking around outside again, the door slams shut and he's locked out. He peers inside, but there appears to be nothing. Now he has to go around to get back inside his house. He lifts his camera, catching himself in the sights, while also capturing something over his shoulder. What is that? As he continues walking, he says hello to someone on the street. He's at his front door again, which he unlocks with a key, and immediately this happens. Absolutely terrifying. Bet you can't handle this video. Carmen's home is more haunted than ever by the previous owner, a man who lived there for 50 years and whose spirit refuses to go away anytime soon. I've covered Carmen on this channel before, but she has sent me more video evidence in an exclusive update you'll only find on Chills. The more she communicates with the apparition in her home, the more it seems to understand her. These videos were taken on 3 different spirit boxes, and the same male voice talks to her each time.
I'm gonna turn this off and listen, okay? I'm gonna listen. Holy.
Also, just no problem.
Should we talk?
We should talk. I'm trying to talk to you. Is there a demon in my house? Can you tell me what color my shirt is?
Really don't know exactly.
Over time, its powers grow, and it seems to feed off her energy and the attention it receives.
What's your name? And the flashlight went on.
And after a while, it doesn't even need paranormal equipment to whisper to her at night. One night while opening the front door, she discovers what it is that wants her to feel such fear. A shadow figure with demon horns stands over her for a split second and then it's gone. And then there's this unexplained lights that follow her from room to room. I thought she was shining a flashlight against the wall, but look again. It starts out small at 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Then it gets in her face and goes away. At no point do you see a ray of light coming from her flashlight because she's not holding one. If this is random dust, then explain why it's popping out of the chest of this creepy doll and heading straight towards her camera. The paranormal activity seems to be growing more intense, so I'll keep you updated with new events as soon as they happen, which I'm sure they will be soon. And if you're wondering why Carmen gives the ghost so much attention, it's because ignoring it apparently puts it in a foul mood and causes even worse things to occur. When you're playing peekaboo with the paranormal, it's never a game. Posted to the Ghost Video subreddit by Podcast Africa. The clip shows an urban explorer walking through an abandoned house. As he walks down the corridor, he glances in a room to his left. There's a big empty window to the room beyond, and in that window this peeks out, a shadow person or a real one. The dark shadow ducks down quickly and the explorer hurries over into the next room and finds it completely empty. So who or what is playing around here? Or are they even playing? When a Shadow Welcomes You, Run and Hide, published by Polish Paranormal TV in October of 2021, this scary video explores a haunted place in Poland. Upon entering, the team uses a spirit box as they head up the stairs. Right away, the spirits start speaking. According to a translation, the spirit says either "I'm here" or "welcome here." But how welcome are they? Later, while walking down a hallway, a shadowy figure is spotted leaning against the door frame. You can see it more clearly in slow motion. Do you see it? If you do, this figure will haunt your eyes for eternity. As so many of these videos show, darkness is a recipe for the scariest things imaginable. Posted by YouTuber Ricardo Costa in June of 2009, the uploader writes, "A strange shape is spotted at dawn at the Santos Dumont building. In the first pass, it is possible to see only a spectrum without a definite shape, but something that resembles some type of animal. But then it is possible to see a more concrete form of a creature. Never imagined, and still realized that one more accompanies it in a quick jump and soon after disappears without a trace or idea of what they were. In the clip, some men are sitting in the dark when beyond them, a figure is seen moving quickly past. What that figure is, you can't really tell, as its movements are too quick and there is little light. As the men all jump up to pursue the creature, you glimpse it again for a brief moment as it crawls past a silver of light in the room. It looks like it's doing a bear crawl. They wander around in the darkness a bit longer, searching for the creature, but it seems to have disappeared, or perhaps it's in hiding. Some in the comments suggest it's a feral being, possibly even the rake. What do you think it is? Whether human or not, seeing and hearing something move like this in the darkness would certainly make me freak out. Published in October of 2017, this scary CCTV footage was captured while the YouTuber was on night duty at a creepy nursing home. The footage timestamp puts this clip at around 11 p.m. It's at this moment that a mysterious, amoeba-like ball of light moves down the hallway. It appears to have appendages bouncing out of its sphere. A couple of minutes later, which is verified by the timestamp, the same ball of light returns down the hallway in the opposite direction. Do you think this light beam could be a paranormal entity haunting the halls of this nursing home? A spirit leaving its body and then returning? YouTuber Light writes, "If I saw that, I wouldn't go back to work. Neither would I." YouTuber Moxley's Crazy Adventures posted this haunted graveyard video in November of 2019 writing, "Welcome back to my first haunted graveyard. I went here to see what I could capture, if anything at all. What I did capture was insane. Alright, you reeled us in. Let's just hope you deliver. And Moxley does deliver. He captures a dark shadow-like figure gliding across the backdrop of a lit brick wall. He shouts out to it, but it doesn't respond.
What the is that? Hello?
He later hears heavy footsteps nearby. They're clearly heard in the leaves around him. In the comments, YouTuber Spooky Spectre notes that this thing wasn't moving like a human being, nor did the brush move as it passed by. It also didn't respond when being called out to, or make noise or footsteps. Do you agree with Spooky Spectre? Did this freak you out? If not, then you're one brave cookie. While walking in the Fox family cemetery, this couple's dogs started behaving strangely. Published by Matthias Eger in November of 2013, this footage captures the dog freaking out about something unseen. Only a few gravestones are scattered throughout the fallen leaves, and the cemetery is empty, except for all those below the ground, of course. The dog appears on high alert and is looking in one direction in particular, at this gravestone. He even starts growling and backing away from it. What does he see? Well, many in the comments are telling the trio to leave. Bushy Brow Sensei agrees, writing, I was thinking maybe the dog could smell the remains, but that last reaction was definitely fear. I think it's time to go. A Saudi Arabian ghost hunter known only as Hai claims to have caught a real jinn on camera while exploring an abandoned house that he knows is haunted. I can't tell if this is a gap in the curtains or a ghost in the window. He presses onwards and reaches the second floor before things get beyond creepy.
في أحد؟
Something paranormal is making movements.
بسم الله.
And staying one step ahead of the paranormal explorer at all times.
بسم الله بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء.
The excited ghost hunter runs from room to room trying to keep up, praying for strength all the while.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
As the ghost apparently runs into a tall cabinet, I can't help but wonder if it's just as afraid as he is.
بسم الله.
Cornered and with nowhere to go, the spirit finally has to rely on its supernatural defenses to get out of there quickly.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. 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 بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Scary noises are heard all around, doors shutting, cabinets opening, and soon a strange and bizarre paranormal mist floods the room. It's hard to say if this was real paranormal activity or dust kicked up from him throwing objects everywhere, but I think it's probably real and most certainly is creepy. The scariest things are unseen. Redditor Fire from Thaumaturgy shares this video of footsteps in a stairwell, only there's no one there. The footsteps seem to be far away at first, but then come all too close, but some Redditors think it's a hoax. While I also agree that the footsteps sound like they're coming from above and are running in place, this could still be without the Redditor's knowledge or collaboration, which is seriously creepy. In fact, the Redditor claims he was walking down 18 flights of stairs from the top and didn't hear anyone entering the stairwell behind him. They also say they felt a gust of cold air and have a history of encounters with paranormal activity, all of which makes me lean towards this video being legitimate. What do you think? Sylvia Likens was 16 years old when her life was taken in Indianapolis, Indiana. Likens was held captive for over 3 months by her caregiver, who subjected her to increasingly brutal things. These things started with no food and increasingly escalated, and lastly, confinement to the basement. The girl was tied there. On the evening of October 25th, a neighbor heard Likens' cries for help as she attempted to alert someone to her captivity in the basement. One neighbor did hear her crimes but did not inform police, as the noise ceased at 3 a.m. Likens passed the next day on October 26. All involved were convicted in May of 1966. This video, posted by Redditor G Moss, shows the abandoned house of the teen. She was held captive in the basement here, which is from where the EVP is heard. As the two men walk away from the basement entrance at around 1 minute 53 seconds, you can hear a voice cry out, "Help me," clear as day. In response to one Redditor who suggests this sound is from children in the street, G-Moss admits that it could be, but to him sounds like it's muffled from the inside the basement. He notes the voice sounds distorted, anguished, and not from a living human. I'm usually quite a skeptic, he writes, but would class this video as one of the more compelling pieces of evidence I've seen. Do you find it equally compelling? If so, do you believe Likens' spirit is still sadly in this basement? Usually when you're in solitary confinement, you're, well, solitary. This TikTok video shows that's not always the case. In the video, an inmate stands behind bars. He's looking out through the bars and is supposed to be alone, but when he steps out of the way, a dark figure appears to be crawling on the floor behind him. It moves out of the way, blocking itself from view behind the inmate. The figure looks human-shaped, but not really human. Many in the comments believe it could be the inmate's demon that landed him in prison. Others think it's the negative energy attached to him. I guess the odds of an actual person sneaking into jail are unlikely. What do you think is going on here? This deep web video is a collection of old horror movie scenes spliced together, most of which I can identify. There's one clip that I don't recognize though. Other people don't recognize this scene either. They even think that a psycho could have spliced a small portion of real video into a horror movie montage. This would be the perfect way to brag about what you've done without making it too obvious. Let me know if you recognize what movie this woman is from, if any. If nobody has seen this before then, as much as I hate to say it, I think this portion might be home video from a genuine psychopath. It is said that evil resides here. This paranormal explorer is about to greet it. Ricky Velasquez seems to sense this reputed evil early on. He then senses this hiding under a bench. While outside the structure, he hears a hushed whining or whimpering. Shortly after, he hears what sounds like a bottle being kicked. Back inside, he senses something in his presence again, and then on an upper floor, this unexplained sound.
Oh no, yes.
Is evil still lingering? Ricky isn't the only one who can feel it. While exploring Peña Palace in Sintra, Portugal, a tourist was frightened by a mysterious creature. YouTuber YB Normal shares this scary video taken during this tourist's exploration of the grounds. What is this thing? To me, it almost looks like a gorilla, but what would a gorilla be doing outside of a zoo in Portugal? Several in the comments believe it's a panther or a jaguar, but as far as I know, neither are native to Portugal. Unless there are big cats on the loose in this public park, I think it's possible that it's some unknown creature. The Martinez twins are both excited about moving into a new house with an old friend. They are arguing over which rooms belong to who, when one of them notices a locked door leading to an unexplored part of the house. None of them have a key, so they pick the lock and step into a plain room with an empty chair. The old chair gives off a creepy vibe. It must have belonged to one of the previous owners. They are talking about what to do with it, when suddenly they notice an attic entrance that needs to be checked out. They forget about the chair for now and climb a wooden ladder into a darkened attic, even though the insulation is making them cough, and one false step could send them falling through the ceiling. The group is determined to get to the other side and see what they can find. A small box is waiting for them at the end of their crawl space, but they don't open it up right away, choosing to look at a pile of old magazines from the 1920s instead. When they turn their attention back to the box, they find this old mysterious broken thing inside.
Bro, there's like a toy, bro. It works from here. Wait.
The others try to stop him, but it's too late. An eerie song fills the empty, dark attic space, perhaps for the first time in many years.
That's creepy. Bro, you wanna hold it? Oh wow, that's creepy.
There's an old Bible even farther back in the attic, but when the music box starts playing a few more notes all by itself, they decide they've seen enough and leave quick.
I stop it. Wow, that's creepy. Okay, let's go.
All of these things seem like the perfect indications of a classic haunting that I certainly would want nothing to do with, but I'm curious what you think. Do you think you would fare in a haunted house? And I mean actually haunted. Currently trending in the Brazilian YouTube community, this scary video was shared by YouTube channel EXTV. Its original source is TikToker Martina Mina. Martina is a single mom who has experienced paranormal activity in her house ever since she moved in, with multiple videos documenting her and her children's experience. This one takes the cake. The dark hooded figure in the corner vanishes the second the woman turns on the light. She's so freaked out that she decides to leave for a hotel for the night. Many in the comments are just as freaked out by this mysterious figure. Some think it's a djinn. There are many questions I'd like answered too before I decide for myself what this really is, because this one has me on the fence. If this is real, then it very likely is a djinn, but could this mysterious figure just be a human under a sheet? This is the question that has me unable to make up my mind. What questions do you need answered? Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.